Chapter 2243. After the time it took to brew a cup of tea, the black horned dragon let out an unwilling roar as its soul was shattered. Night Sorrow let out a sigh of relief. His body swayed a bit. Not to mention his injuries, his main body and avatar had both used up all their energy and were extremely exhausted. Wu Lingfei flashed to Night Sorrow's side and supported Night Sorrow's body. Let's go into the Clear Sky Pagoda. Releasing the Clear Sky Pagoda, Night Sorrow's soul shook. He wrapped Wu Lingfei and the Heavenly Concubine and entered the Clear Sky Pagoda's time acceleration level. Then, Night Sorrow and the Heavenly Concubine began to meditate. Night Sorrow's original body meditated to recover while his clone healed. The recovery time was faster. After 2 days, Night Sorrow's original body and the Heavenly Concubine were back to their peak condition. However, Night Sorrow's clone was still pale. Burning his Virtue Dao body was very harmful to him. Healing like this couldn't solve the problem. /Oh Night Sorrow, don't do this in the future. I'm scared. The Heavenly Concubine said to Night Sorrow, who was sitting by the tea table. I have no choice. If I retreat, this mission will fail. I can't abandon my companions. That will leave a shadow in my heart. If my heart is covered in dust and I can't face myself, how can I improve? Some things must be done. Night Sorrow shook his head at the Heavenly Concubine. Night Sorrow insisted on doing something and not doing it. But your clone is too damaged, Wu Lingfei said. She was heartbroken. It's okay. If I can't recover, I'll give up. Night Sorrow thought about it and said, how can you think like that? Isn't the price too high? The Heavenly Concubine looked at Night Sorrow with surprise. The World Tree is too important to the Celestial Realm and the Nine Zones world. Your safety is also very important to me. It's best if I can keep my battle clone. If I can't, then I'll use my full power. If it's destroyed, then I'll waste some time to rebuild it. Night Sorrow sighed. Don't you have the Heavenly Dao Flower? Wu Lingfei asked Night Sorrow. They're two different things. My clone can be cultivated again, but the Heavenly Dao Flower can't be regenerated. Once it's used up, it's gone. Without the Heavenly Dao Flower, we won't be able to make up for anything that happens to our true bodies. Night Sorrow shook his head. Heavenly Concubine and Dancing Spirit Concubine looked at each other. They didn't expect Night Sorrow to have such thoughts. Don't give up. The Black Dragon should be the companion of the World Tree. The Soul-Uniting Realm is the highest realm below the Divine Emperor Realm before the God-Destroying Tribulation. There shouldn't be any more opponents like that. At most, there will be the Protector of the World Tree. We can deal with that. We'll talk about your clone when we get back, said the Heavenly Concubine. It's too late. My doppelganger has already lost 20% of its vitality. If I don't use the Heavenly Dao Flower, it probably won't recover. Don't worry. Creating another doppelganger will just waste some materials and time. It's nothing compared to this, Night Sorrow said. No. You don't understand. There's a difference between the original doppelganger and the doppelganger that was cultivated later. If you cultivate another doppelganger, you might lose some of your abilities. Take the Virtuous Tao body for example. Your current doppelganger grew together with your true body. The Virtuous Tao aura is also condensed bit by bit. It's a gift from the Heavenly Dao. If you cultivate again, it might not exist anymore. Also, there will be some accumulation after the battle. The new doppelganger won't exist. Don't give up. We'll think of something when we get back. Heavenly Concubine was worried that Night Sorrow would give up on his doppelganger. So that's how it is. Night Sorrow sighed helplessly. Even so, he didn't regret it. In that situation, he had to fight. If he didn't fight, he would be in danger. He ran away with Dancing Spirit Concubine. What about Heavenly Concubine? This mission had also failed. Thank you for not abandoning me. Heavenly Concubine nodded at Night Sorrow. She was very touched. She also understood why so many people gathered around Night Sorrow. It was because of his sincerity. He didn't abandon his friends and companions. Even if he died, it gave people an indescribable sense of security. No need to be so polite. We came out together. If I'm alive, then you're all alive. Night Sorrow smiled and took a cup of tea from Dancing Spirit Concubine. As long as I'm alive, you'll all be alive. That's a good way to put it. Alright, who taught you how to fight? It's like a madman created it. Heavenly Concubine thought of Night Sorrow's death battle with the Black Dragon and was speechless. She was afraid of encountering such an opponent, let alone others. No one taught me. I just felt that it was more suitable. In a situation where I didn't have an advantage in any aspect, I could only use my strongest point to fight against him. Compared to the Black Horned Dragon, I only had a strong body and strength, so I felt that close combat was more suitable. Yishan was a bit conflicted after being called a madman. He hadn't thought too much about it at the time. I'm not scolding you, ha. I've never seen such a battle. You're the bane of the tribulation of 9 emperors. Without you, Scorpion Kwang wouldn't have died. Without your help, not to mention killing the Black Dragon, I would have been in a bad situation. If it went well, I would have been able to retreat safely. If it didn't, I would have had to burn my essence, blood and soul. The Black Dragon was too strong. Heavenly Concubine shook her head. This was the most intense battle she had ever fought. When she fought with Yan Wushuang, both of them were around the tribulation of 7 emperors. In the real world, it took a month for Night Sorrow's clone to recover from its injuries. However, the Heavenly Desolate City had thought of a way to deal with it. Night Sorrow's doppelganger was injured in the battle with the Black Dragon. Wu Lingfei told the Heavenly Desolate City Lord. This was a big deal. The Heavenly Desolate City Lord called a meeting of elders and reported Night Sorrow's situation. The young City Lord is going all out. We can't let the young City Lord be injured. If he continues to cultivate a doppelganger, it'll be different from the original doppelganger, the Golden Dragon King said. Night Sorrow still has 2 petals of the Heavenly Path Flower, but he doesn't want to use them. He thinks that good steel should be used on the edge of a blade. He doesn't want to use them on his doppelganger. After all, the Heavenly Path Flower is gone after he uses it, Wu Lingfei said. Tran Hung brought her with him when the meeting of elders was called. He's willing to do it for others, but he's unwilling to do it for himself. We can't reach the Renhuang Plain. Qin Qianjia sighed. The Heavenly Path Flower is too precious. Our blood-curing clan still has the blood of merit left by our ancestors. It contains the power of merit and the power of blood. When Night Sorrow comes back, we'll give it to him. If it doesn't work, then he must use the Heavenly Path Flower. Some injuries cannot appear on his body. He is still a child, blood-curing King Chirue said. Chirue, you mean the blood of auspicious signs? Tran Hung looked at Chirue. Chapter 2244. Then I won't be polite with the Blood Qilin race. Let's prepare first. When Night Sorrow comes back, let's use it. As for the Heavenly Path Flower, it's better to save it. Tran Hung said. Yes, the Heavenly Path Flower can be exchanged for the life and future of a high-level cultivator. Blood Qilin King nodded. King Yawu was an example. Without the Heavenly Path Flower, King Yawu's injuries couldn't be healed. His foundation would be destroyed and he wouldn't be able to improve anymore. After the meeting, Wu Lingfei's original body told Night Sorrow about the decision of the elders. I'll have to trouble everyone with my matters again. I'm really sorry, said Yishan. Night Sorrow, you're wrong. Why are you doing this? It's for the sake of the celestial realm. You're risking your life in the front. They should be doing something behind you. Heavenly Concubine looked at Night Sorrow and said, Yes, the elders of the elders are feeling guilty because they can't come to help you. Wu Lingfei said. Then we'll talk about it when we get back. We'll leave after drinking tea. Night Sorrow didn't say anything else because he had to accept the elders' good intentions. Night Sorrow's injuries had already recovered. However, his doppelganger's injuries couldn't be healed in a short time. If it couldn't be healed, it would be an irrecoverable injury. After leaving the Clear Sky Pagoda, the 3 continued forward. The cultivators in this world were relatively poor and didn't have many resources. The spirit chi here was rich and didn't need any cultivation resources. In addition, there weren't any spirit herbs growing here. The earth's nutrients had already been absorbed by the world tree. There wasn't enough nutrients for spirit herbs to grow. After killing the Black Dragon, Night Sorrow and the other 2 obtained some of the dragon's materials. However, the crystal core and essence blood were extremely valuable. Night Sorrow's original body led Heavenly Concubine and Wu Lingfei forward. His doppelganger refined the dragon's essence blood in the Clear Sky Pagoda to recover. Although he didn't know how effective it was still beneficial for him. As they advanced, Night Sorrow and the others were very careful because they were very close to the World Tree. They would arrive at the location of the World Tree's main trunk in just a short while. Night Sorrow and the other 2 advanced at a very slow speed, almost as slow as ordinary low-level cultivators. As they moved forward, the 3 of them got closer and closer to the World Tree. Heavenly Concubine, Anti-Fei, the more we move forward, the more I feel the bleakness and vicissitudes of life. What about you 2? After moving forward for a while, Night Sorrow looked at the 2 women and asked. Yes, something must have happened. Normally speaking, it shouldn't be like this. Heavenly Concubine nodded. In fact, there were no more obstructions, not even any other life forms. 2 days later, Night Sorrow's group of 3 arrived at the area where the World Tree's main trunk was located. They were finally able to see the true appearance of the World Tree. The trunk of the World Tree was close to 100 miles in diameter, and its height was immeasurable. It reached straight into the sky. What shocked Yishang and the others was that there were huge cracks on the tree trunk, and the cracks were filled with black charcoal marks. Traces of lightning tribulation. After taking a look, Night Sorrow confirmed that the huge cracks and charcoal marks were left behind by lightning tribulation. That's right, these are the traces of lightning tribulation. At this moment, a woman's figure appeared on the trunk of the World Tree in front of Night Sorrow's group. Tree Spirit. Although he couldn't see her face clearly, Night Sorrow knew that it was the Tree Spirit. The Tree Spirit's aura surprised Night Sorrow. The bleakness and vicissitudes of life were very strong. Senior, you're not in your infancy stage. Did you fail your tribulation? Night Sorrow asked the question in his heart. Yes, I failed my tribulation. The Tree Spirit nodded slightly at Night Sorrow. Look. V is on the Z version of the chapter Ka. F. My name is Night Sorrow, and I come from the current and future Paragon worlds. I wonder if I can have a chat with Senior. Night Sorrow felt that there was no need to beat around the bush. It was better to talk directly. He didn't know how to beat around the bush. Alright, you have a lot of power of virtue. Countless years have passed, and only one of the Origin Realm's powerhouses is slightly stronger than you. However, you're still young, the Tree Spirit said. Then the Tree Spirit began to talk to itself. The Origin Realm had once been an autarch realm, and it hadn't been destroyed even after 1,000 reincarnations of an autarch realm and 1,000 reincarnations of a secondary autarch realm. This was because the World Tree had been there, and it had maintained the origin energy of the Origin Realm. The Origin Realm's destruction was all because of me. When I saw other cultivators cultivating and falling one after another to the god-slaying tribulation, I felt that it was possible, so I began to cultivate. When I reached the tribulation of 9 sovereigns, I didn't suppress myself and directly tried to break through the god-slaying tribulation. I felt that there was no problem because my body was innately gifted, and my soul wasn't weak either. However, I still failed like the other cultivators, the Tree Spirit said. Night Sorrow nodded. He knew why Tranhung's judgment was wrong. The World Tree's aura was weak not because it was in its infancy stage, but because it had failed its tribulation. Moreover, the origin energy it contained concealed this apocalyptic aura. What are the consequences of failing the tribulation? Night Sorrow didn't hide anything and directly spoke his thoughts. I'll die. The reason I'm holding on now is because of my unique nature, the World Tree said. I'm here this time. Originally, I wanted to bring Senior to the Sovereign World so that it wouldn't be destroyed. The current Sovereign World and the future Sovereign World would be connected, and both worlds would benefit. Unfortunately, something happened to Senior. However, that's not important. Is there anything Senior needs my help with? Night Sorrow thought for a moment before asking. He knew that he had failed his mission this time. The World Tree had a problem, and it wasn't because he didn't work hard enough. This was the will of the heavens. I can't do it anymore. After failing the tribulation, something happened to my body, and I couldn't stop the Origin Realm from shattering. This tree world is a relatively large fragment of the Origin Realm. I don't need any help in this situation. The Tree Spirit's hazy eyes sized up Night Sorrow, and light occasionally flashed from them. I'm a bit helpless. Heavenly Concubine Auntie Faye, let's rest for a bit and then return. Yishang said. He wasn't too disappointed. This was supposed to be a journey of opportunity. Now, it was just an opportunity that had gone up in smoke. The Heavenly Concubine and Wu Lingfei nodded, and Wu Lingfei brewed a pot of tea. Night Sorrow, we came for nothing this time. We even damaged your origin energy and damaged your foundation. The Heavenly Concubine felt a bit unbalanced. Life is full of ups and downs. It's fine if my origin energy is damaged. If there's a problem, it's fine as long as it's resolved. Senior, can I have some tea? Night Sorrow picked up a cup of tea and looked at the Tree Spirit. The Tree Spirit shook its head. The virtuous Emperor is really open-minded. If there's a problem, it'll be resolved. However, you don't look like you're damaged. Chapter 2245. The Tree Spirit waved her right hand, and a few images appeared in front of her. A moment later, it changed to the scene of Night Sorrow, Heavenly Concubine, and the Black Horned Dragon fighting. Tree Spirit finished reading it seriously. I've been in a deep sleep all this time, so I don't know about these things. You fought beautifully, but the obsession in your heart is too strong. This is not what a virtuous emperor like you should do. Perhaps. I'm the Realm Lord of the 9 Regions world, the human emperor of the celestial realm. If I can fight for the opportunity to protect the 100 Regions world, I'll do my best. Unfortunately, things don't go as I wish. Knight Sorrow smiled. He felt that he was stubborn but not obsessed. Realm Lord, your cultivation isn't bad, but it hasn't reached the level of ruling, right? Yes, you said that it's a newborn world. Perhaps you can do it with your cultivation. The tree spirit nodded. No, I'm not ruling by force. I'm the Realm Lord recognized by the origins. Knight Sorrow shook the clear sky pagoda, and the 9 Regions origin pearl in the area where the soul-raising grass was returned to Knight Sorrow's spirit sea. Then it floated above his head and rotated once before entering the spirit sea again. Origin Realm Lord, you're a Realm Lord recognized by the world's origin. You're a Realm Lord that surpasses the great realm's origin. The tree spirit's voice was very surprised. Yes, the 9 Regions world has only been formed for a few 100,000 years, but it's developing quite quickly. Knight Sorrow smiled. The 9 Regions origin pearl returned to the divine sea, and Knight Sorrow's emotions became more stable. The newborn world has developed to this extent in just a few 100,000 years. This isn't because of the world itself, but because of you, the Realm Lord, the tree spirit said. Some of my seniors said the same thing. Knight Sorrow nodded. I watched your battle. Your clone lost 20% of its essence blood, but it's not a big problem. In the origin realm, there's a cultivation technique called the infinite body forging. It cripples a part of the body and uses the crippled essence blood to replenish the body's vitality. Then it uses a secret technique and resources to regenerate the severed limb. If this continues, the body will be filled with vitality. The tree spirit said. That's a good idea. It's worth researching, Knight Sorrow said as he rubbed his head. Research. One can be unyielding if one has no desires. You have done well as a merit emperor. The tree spirit smiled because Knight Sorrow didn't ask for it and wanted to research it himself. After drinking a cup of tea, Knight Sorrow stood up and cupped his hands towards the tree spirit. Sorry for disturbing senior's meditation. Auntie Faye, heavenly concubine, let's go back. There's no rush, said the tree spirit. Senior, do you have any other instructions? Knight Sorrow turned to the tree spirit. Sometimes things can take a turn for the better. Perhaps you didn't come in vain. I don't have much time left and I've been persisting because of my obsession. Because of the young world tree, my daughter is still in the womb and will be able to survive on her own soon. I've been looking for a suitable world for her. After listening to your description, I feel that your world is not bad. However, I still want to take a look at your world. I don't care what the current sovereign realm is like. I want to see the world where you are the realm master. The tree spirit said. The young world tree? You want to see the 9 Regions world? In fact, the place that needs the help of the world tree the most right now is the celestial realm. Knight Sorrow said after a moment of surprise. He was very conflicted because he couldn't explain the situation to Tran Hung and King Yewu. I don't care so much. Do you think it's okay or not? Asked the tree spirit. All right. At this time I don't care so much. It's not that I don't care about the celestial realm. Knight Sorrow shook his head. While they were talking, a branch of the world tree floated down. The tree spirit flashed into the branch and the branch landed in front of Knight Sorrow. You can take this branch with you. Then the tree spirit disappeared and entered the branch. Knight Sorrow grabbed the branch. I can't carry it forever, right? Can you enter my spatial treasure? Knight Sorrow asked. Of course, that's not a problem. You can't harm me even if you want to. Although I'm just a temporary doppelganger, I can mobilize my power. Destroying your Dharma treasure is a piece of cake for me. However, you can keep it for now. If it's inconvenient, you can put it into your spatial treasure. Although he had agreed, Tree Spirit still gave Knight Sorrow a warning. Holding the branch of the world tree, Knight Sorrow and the others left. Knight Sorrow sighed as he said, we still have to waste some time. The Thousand Realms whirling defense is too strong. It took him a year to get here, but Knight Sorrow felt that it would take him at least 3 months to return. I can make things easier for you. After the tree spirit finished speaking, a branch of the world tree appeared and extended downwards. Then a spacetime tunnel appeared. Although Knight Sorrow was shocked, he understood that the Thousand Realms defense was the world tree's method. It was normal for it to be able to send the 3 of them out. After passing through the spacetime tunnel, it took Knight Sorrow and the others a moment to arrive outside the Thousand Realms whirling avatar. It was difficult to come here, but it was easy to come back. Let's go. Knight Sorrow tightened his grip on the Samsara halberd on his back. He held the branch of the world tree in his left hand and took a sip from the wine jar in his right. Without any opponents, Night Sorrow and the other two successfully returned to the entrance of the world of trees. After opening the seal, Night Sorrow brought Wu Lingfei and the heavenly concubine back to the ethereal dynasty. Let's go home. The tree spirit said, the spiritual chi here is quite dense, but the origin energy is weak. In other words, there is no world origin in this world. Yes, the origin world sovereign has already reincarnated. Night Sorrow nodded. Without stopping in the celestial realm, Night Sorrow and the other two entered the Nine Regions world through Xinghua City. This is the Nine Regions world. Night Sorrow said. What? At this time, the Nine Regions origin body appeared. He felt a strong origin energy and left the heaven-sealing Great Hall. Greetings, World Sovereign. The tree spirit appeared on the branch. The World Tree. Greetings, World Sovereign. The Nine Regions origin body cupped his hands at the World Tree. Night Sorrow had the Nine Regions origin bead with him, but Night Sorrow didn't activate it. The Nine Regions origin bead had no consciousness. Night Sorrow explained the situation to the Nine Regions origin body. Come and take a look at the Nine Regions world? The World Sovereign will be satisfied because the Nine Regions world has a Merit Realm Lord. The Nine Regions origin body said. After cupping her hands at the Nine Regions origin body, the World Tree's branch flew away. She wanted to take a look at the Nine Regions world herself. World Sovereign, if the World Tree settles down in our Nine Regions world, it should be a good thing for the Nine Regions world. Night Sorrow looked at the Nine Regions origin body and said, the World Tree's existence is most beneficial to the world origin. There is no danger of the origin energy being exhausted. It will break through the lifespan of the world itself. In other words, the world's level won't decrease or be destroyed. The Nine Regions origin body said to Night Sorrow. Then it depends on whether the World Tree is willing to stay or not. We can't force it. Night Sorrow said. Chapter 2246. Don't worry, Universe Sovereign. I won't embarrass the Nine Regions world. The Nine Regions world's reputation isn't just mine, it's yours, and it's also the reputation of all living beings in the Nine Regions world. No matter what, we have to live with pride, Night Sorrow said. That's right. You can be at ease and do whatever you want. I approve of you. The living beings of the Nine Regions world approve of you. Whatever you do, whether it's right or wrong, even if it's bad, we'll all bear it together, said the Nine Regions origin body. Strength of character. This was one of the civilizations in the Nine Regions world. It was what Night Sorrow and Nine Regions origin body pursued. Thank you for supporting Night Sorrow, Universe Sovereign, Night Sorrow said. Although the world origin body had recognized him as its master, Night Sorrow still respected the world origin body very much. There's no need to be polite between us. You were the one who fixed the broken Nine Regions world. You were also the one who brought the Nine Regions world's supreme attributes. To be fair, you created the Nine Regions world's present and future, so you have the right to be its master. Nine Regions origin body explained his thoughts. He was completely supportive of Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow and the Nine Regions origin body then discussed the matter of cultivating soul-nurturing grass. Move a portion of it to the heaven-sealing hall. Also, leave some in your spatial treasure. When you're not cultivating in the heaven-sealing hall, leave some in your spatial treasure. It can provide you with energy to strengthen your soul. That's the most suitable arrangement, said the World Essence body. He was being considerate for Yishan's sake. Night Sorrow then moved half of the soul-nurturing grass to the sky-sealing palace. As for who was qualified to cultivate in the sky-sealing palace and who was qualified to use the energy of the soul-nurturing grass, Night Sorrow and Nine Regions origin body had their own judgment. He knew who had contributed to the Nine Regions world. After talking for a while, Night Sorrow stopped the heavenly concubine, who wanted to continue cultivating. Night Sorrow took her and Wu Lingfei back to the city in the sky. Night Sorrow took the two women to see his family. He didn't want the heavenly concubine to feel like she had no family and friends. The Yi family naturally welcomed the heavenly concubine and Wu Ling concubine warmly. After living for so long, the heavenly concubine felt that her heart had become numb and lonely. Now that she was in the city in the sky, these negative feelings were diluted quite a bit. Qingyan Shaolei, the heavenly concubine, is one of the top experts in the entire celestial realm. You can ask her for advice when you're free. You won't find it troublesome, right? Night Sorrow asked as he sipped his tea. It's pointless for you to say that. When have I ever complained about trouble? But I will come here often in the future. I hope you don't find it troublesome. Heavenly Concubine said with a smile. She knew that Night Sorrow wanted her life to be a little more colorful, which was why he made such an arrangement. Auntie Heavenly Concubine, in our family, mother and concubine usually have the final say. Yi Xiaolei said with a smile. You're such a shameless girl. You're telling me everything. Yang Lei laughed and scolded her. Night Sorrow, you've been working very hard outside. You've been very tired and very difficult. But in reality you're living a real life. You're living a life of flesh and blood. Your parents are healthy, your wife is virtuous, your children are happy, and you have both status and identity. What is this? This is a winner in life. Heavenly Concubine said. She looked at Night Sorrow with envy. That's right. High-level cultivators are all lonely. Their loved ones have been taken away by time. They're still alive, but other than cultivation they don't have any pursuits or joy. Lin Piaomiao said. That's true. There were once emperors and emperors who committed suicide because they had lived enough without any joy. They couldn't find a goal in life and their Tao heart collapsed. Heavenly Concubine said. That's quite scary. Yi Xiaolei stuck out her tongue. Everyone cultivate well. When the family is together there won't be such messy things. Night Sorrow said. 13 Eldest senior brother and senior sister Chanchan's marriage has been decided on the 6th of next month. Your 9 realms doppelganger didn't come home so we didn't tell you. Sikong Chiyu said. There's still half a month. Then I won't go anywhere in this half a month. Night Sorrow thought for a moment and said. Gong Xian was going to get married. This was a big deal. In addition he also had to wait for news about the World Tree. While the family banquet was being prepared, Night Sorrow, Papa Gu, his parents and Heavenly Concubine were chatting. CT head. MFA. Night Sorrow, if you don't work hard you'll be safe in the 9 realms world. Papa Gu said. That's right. Son, you're the realm master of the 9 realms world. You have absolute control over the 9 realms world. As long as you don't leave the 9 realms world, no one can threaten you. Yu Qing said. Mother, what you say makes sense. However, there are 2 sides to every coin. If I didn't leave the 9 realms world, I wouldn't have achieved what I have today. The 9 realms world is still filled with danger. If cultivators from other realms attack, we won't be able to defend ourselves. Although it's dangerous to wander outside, I can improve myself faster. Night Sorrow said. Qing, don't worry about the child. He knows what he's doing. Yu Wio said. Yu Qing nodded. That's right. Your son is someone who can make the entire celestial realm tremble with a stomp of his feet. There are some things that he can handle himself. That's not right. What's wrong? You're all grown up now. Why are you being so self-righteous? Yu Qing glared at Night Sorrow. Mother, you're thinking too much. Your son wouldn't dare. Night Sorrow hurriedly apologized. Heavenly Concubine, I've made a fool of myself. Yu Qing smiled at the Heavenly Concubine. There's nothing to make a fool of. Actually, having parents educate and scold you is also a kind of happiness. Many people beg for it. The Heavenly Concubine smiled. The Yi family's banquet was very casual and lively. Everyone was talking and laughing. Yishang also asked some questions about the child and expressed his own views at the same time. Seeing this scene, the Heavenly Concubine's thoughts went back to 9 eras ago. She only had this kind of life when she was just born. Heavenly Concubine, if you like, you can come over anytime. Our family is like this every day. Although we're all cultivators and don't need to eat, this is the feeling of home. Yu Qing said. Heavenly Concubine, you said you like the lake. Then find a place by the lake and build a mansion. Night Sorrow said. And he looked. You're inviting me, but Night Sorrow is already chasing me away. The Heavenly Concubine smiled. Heavenly Concubine, look at what you're saying. I'm just being nice. Night Sorrow was stunned by the Heavenly Concubine's words. I know you're being nice. Actually, it's not that troublesome. Just build a residence on the protruding island east of the city in the sky. The Heavenly Concubine said. Chapter 2247. Didn't you say I can choose as I wish? I'm just choosing a place to live. That island is still yours. You can plant whatever you want. I'll only help you take care of it. I won't take it for myself. The Heavenly Concubine smiled. All right. Build a pavilion and hire a gardener. That's fine too. Night Sorrow said. These were all small matters to the Yi family and the Heavenly Concubine. In the next few days, Night Sorrow stayed in the city in the sky with his family. The Heavenly Concubine also stayed for a few days before going to 9 Regions City. Night Sorrow stayed in the city in the sky for 9 days. The tree spirit of the world tree came. She was brought here by the heavenly concubine after arriving at 9 Regions City. Night Sorrow personally received her because it was related to the outcome. How is our 9 Regions world? Night Sorrow asked. A virtuous world. The 9 Regions world civilization is very high. Tree Spirit said. This is human civilization. Night Sorrow nodded. Night Sorrow didn't mention inviting the world tree to live in the 9 Regions world. In the words of the 9 Regions origin body, there was no need to put down his face to beg others. He couldn't lose the spirit of the 9 Regions people. Also, when he first met the Tree Spirit, Night Sorrow had already expressed his willingness. There was no need to say anything more. After a while, the Tree Spirit was silent for a while before speaking. Why don't you ask this sovereign about my plans? Actually, whether I ask or not, the Tree Spirit has already waited in your heart, right? Things are relative. Although the 9 Regions world, or rather, any world would want the world tree to live in, the Tree Spirit also needs to choose a suitable world. This is a win-win situation. After observing the 9 Regions world for 9 days, the Tree Spirit should have made a decision. Night Sorrow said. Yes, the 9 Regions world is very good. Not only is it a future sovereign world, but it's also a world of etiquette. This sovereign has decided to place my daughter in the 9 Regions world. Please take care of her. Tree Spirit didn't beat around the bush and directly stated her decision. Night Sorrow stood up and bowed to the Tree Spirit. Night Sorrow thanks the Tree Spirit on behalf of the billions of living beings in the 9 Regions world for your decision. You're too polite, Realm Lord Knight. It's rare for Realm Lord Knight to have such achievements in just 1,000 years. Most importantly, your character is excellent. I believe in you. The Tree Spirit said. Thank you for your praise, Tree Supreme. Night Sorrow will definitely take good care of Princess Tree, said Night Sorrow. Permanent 5M free of charge CN little g. Later, this sovereign will send her over. As for the place where she grows up, Realm Lord, ye can arrange it. The Tree Sovereign was also very polite. Supreme Tree, I would like to ask, is there any way to solve the crisis of the Celestial Realm? I really don't want to see the Celestial Realm destroyed. That would be a great catastrophe, said Night Sorrow with a sigh. Realm Lord Knight is a pinnacle virtuous emperor and has a compassionate heart. This is very rare, but it's not impossible. This sovereign's daughter grows up in the 9 Regions world. When she grows up, the world's origin energy will seep into the void and bless the Celestial Realm. During this period, this sovereign will move to the Celestial Realm. What do you think, Realm Lord Knight? The Tree Spirit said. Thank you, Supreme Tree. Night Sorrow exhaled. Alright, you're welcome. Since you're taking care of my daughter, we're not outsiders. Also, this sovereign also hopes that you can rise. This is the limitless body tempering art. The Tree Spirit's branches slid on the ground and carved a manual. Yishang took out a pen and paper and wrote, Yishang thanks Sir Tree Supreme for your guidance. Sir Tree Supreme, do you need Yishang's help? Yes, but it's not a big problem. It's just a place to live. When we came, that city was pretty good. I'll take root there. You can arrange the specific details. Also, the existence of my daughter has to be kept a secret. She's still in her infancy and doesn't have much power to protect herself, said the Tree Spirit. Alright, I have a special clone in the 9 Regions world. Its battle power is no different from the original body, but the restriction is that it can't leave the 9 Regions world. It's not a problem to protect Princess Tree as she grows up. The 9 Regions world lord will also take care of her. Very good, Realm Lord Knight has prepared everything, said the Tree Spirit. Because I'm confident. If Supreme Tree wants to choose a place for Princess Tree, there's no place more suitable than the 9 Regions world, said Night Sorrow with a smile. After talking for a while, Night Sorrow sent the Tree Spirit away. After arriving at Xingyue City, Night Sorrow also talked to Qing Emperor and the others. He told Qing Emperor and the others that there was no need to stop the Tree Spirit from coming, and that they were to cooperate fully with Supreme Tree if it wanted to do anything. After that, Night Sorrow took the teleportation formation to Tianhuang City. When Night Sorrow returned, the Tran Hung immediately called for a meeting of the elders because everyone wanted to know what had happened. Almost all the elders were present. Everyone had been staying in Tianhuang City recently. After everyone had arrived, Night Sorrow stood up and told them about the result of the trip. I'm sorry, the World Tree has to stay in Xingyue City and can't come to Tianhuang City. It's not that Night Sorrow is selfish, it's the World Tree's intention, said Night Sorrow. Young City Lord, there's no need for you to apologize. It's a blessing for the World Tree to stay in the Celestial Realm. It's the same everywhere. If she wants to follow you to the 9 Regions world, Everyone can only watch, said the heavenly astral king with a smile. It's good that everyone understands, said Night Sorrow. For this matter we feel very apologetic that the young city lord had to personally charge and break through the enemy lines. Killing a divine soul unity realm cultivator must have been a thrilling battle. If we could witness it with our own eyes it would be a blessing, said the White Tiger King. That's because I'm fighting with others. My luck is better. Yishan smiled. Fei, you didn't record it in a memory crystal ball? Huang Ling asked Wu Lingfei. This. Wu Lingfei looked at Night Sorrow. She had indeed recorded it, but she felt that it wasn't right to take it out without asking for Night Sorrow's opinion. Since Huang Ling had asked, she couldn't lie. Some cultivators disdained to do things that went against their conscience. I really recorded it. Let's take it out and show it to everyone. Is it convenient for you, young city lord? Huang Ling said excitedly and looked at Night Sorrow. This required Night Sorrow's approval. Let's take a look. It's nothing. The other person who participated in the battle is the guardian of our 9 regions world. Night Sorrow said. He wanted to confirm the identity of the heavenly concubine first. This way the others wouldn't say anything else and wouldn't ask about it easily. Huang Ling took the crystal ball that Wu Lingfei had recorded and watched it in the conference hall. Everyone fell silent after watching it. The battle was too intense and exciting. It was a battle of life and death. It's a combination of tactics and bravery. Patriarch Lin recorded 2 copies and sealed them in the heavenly desolate city and the divine capital city. Future generations must know about the deeds of the predecessors. After calming down, Tran Hung spoke. He knew that Night Sorrow had really gone all out and was very touched. Chapter 2248. It's just that my doppelganger's chi and blood were damaged, which affected my battle prowess. I just need to recuperate. Don't worry, uncle. Night Sorrow said. Night Sorrow, this bottle contains the blood essence of our blood Qilin race's ancestor. This is 1 drop. There is another drop in the ancestral hall. If 1 drop is not enough, I will go back and get more. Blood Qilin King pushed a jade bottle to Night Sorrow. This won't do. The blood essence of our blood Qilin race's ancestor is very important. Night Sorrow will think of other ways. Night Sorrow didn't take it. He heard Blood Qilin King say that it was in the ancestral hall. He knew that the blood essence of the Qilin race's ancestor was very precious. It would be a lie to say that it isn't precious. But using it on you will benefit the celestial realm. Blood Qilin King pushed the bottle back to Night Sorrow. Keep it. King Yawu said. Hearing King Yawu's words, Night Sorrow cupped his fists at Blood Qilin King again and kept the jade bottle. Night Sorrow, your thinking is wrong. You must think that your doppelganger's soul is fine after burning its blood essence. At most, you can just recultivate. But the original doppelganger is different from the original doppelganger. The original doppelganger has gone through battles and years of accumulation. Its battle prowess is real, which means that it has a foundation. But a new doppelganger won't do. It will be lacking a lot. So, you have to protect your current doppelganger. It will also build a foundation for the future. King Yawu looked at Night Sorrow and said, Yes, you are young. As your seniors we have to check for you. You must listen to us. Tran Hung said. Night Sorrow thanks the city lord, uncle and seniors. Night Sorrow cupped his fists at the group. If you want to say thanks, it should be us. You have a base and it is very stable. If you stay in the 9-domain world, nothing can affect you. You have also insisted on working hard for the celestial realm. We are all grateful and grateful. The Golden Dragon King said. Lord Golden Dragon King, you're too polite. You're treating me like an outsider, Night Sorrow said. The Golden Dragon King's words were true, but they were also a little harsh. Everyone chatted casually. Tran Hung and the others felt that there would be no war for the time being. Night Sorrow could go home and rest for a while. If anything happened, they would send someone to inform Night Sorrow. After telling the Demon King and Pu Luo about the Humanitarian League, Night Sorrow left the heavenly desolate city. He should rest. He hasn't been quiet since he arrived in the celestial realm, the Grand Elder said. He needs to rest. He also needs to settle down. He needs to calm down. Give him time. Even if it's just a little time, it will be enough for him to rise. Perhaps the next time we meet, it will be a different him, Tran Hung said. King Yawu and the others nodded. They all knew that Night Sorrow's shortcoming was that he didn't have enough time to cultivate. Night Sorrow returned to the 9-domain world. His clone entered the clear sky pagoda and started to absorb the Kirin blood. After listening to the heavenly concubine and Tran Hung, Night Sorrow also understood the importance of the original clone. If he didn't have to give it up, it wouldn't affect his cultivation. However, the quality of the clone was different. While the clone cultivated, Night Sorrow's original body went to a quiet place. He successfully passed the lightning trial and broke through to the 5 Emperor trial. After successfully breaking through, Night Sorrow felt that his entire body was filled with strength. After the breakthrough, he stabilized his cultivation in the time acceleration. Night Sorrow returned to the city in the sky because it was going to be Gong Xian's wedding soon. He definitely couldn't miss it. He always remembered this in his heart. Asterisk at most 2J New Chapter 50 Section D, K +. When Night Sorrow returned to the 9-domain world, the heavenly concubine appeared. You passed the lightning trial without a sound. 5 Emperor trial. You're getting closer and closer to the high-level Emperor trial. It's okay. Are you cultivating? If not, come with me to the city in the sky to rest. We'll go to the Medicine Valley together later. My senior brother's wedding is coming soon, Night Sorrow said to the heavenly concubine. I'll listen to your arrangements, the heavenly concubine said. The heavenly concubine said. She knew that Yi Shang wanted to take her there so that others could get to know her and her status in the 9 regions world. It was all for her own good. Night Sorrow and the heavenly concubine returned to their home in the city in the sky. Auntie Faye, heavenly concubine, things went smoothly. The Tree Supreme has decided to send her young daughter to the 9-domain world to live. She's going to Star Moon City herself, Night Sorrow said. Both worlds have world trees. This is a happy ending, Sikong Chuyu said with a smile. Not necessarily. The old world tree failed the god-destroying trial. She relied on her talent and the world origin power in her body to survive. However, there's a time limit. Night Sorrow shook his head. He didn't know how long the old world tree could live, but he knew it was only a time limit. How long exactly? Yang Lei asked anxiously. It won't be a short time. The Tree Supreme will persist until the young world tree grows up and can bring blessings to the celestial realm, Night Sorrow said. 13. If this operation succeeds, you'll be doing a great deed for the celestial realm and the billions of beings in the 9-domain world. Yang Lei said to Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow nodded. The moment the tree spirit agreed, my power of virtue increased again. It reached a bottleneck, a limit. When Night Sorrow saw the tree spirit in the city in the sky, the heavenly Tao determined that Night Sorrow had done a great deed for the celestial realm. Therefore, a large amount of power of virtue was added to him, allowing his power of virtue to reach the pinnacle of the virtuous emperor realm. Wu Lingfei and the heavenly concubine also nodded. They also felt some changes in fate. Although it wasn't clear, they knew it was due to luck. Well done. Son, there's nothing you can't do, Yu Qing said with a smile. Mother. Night Sorrow bowed to Yu Qing. The family sat together. Night Sorrow asked Yang Lei and Aoi how the gifts were. They had to be thick. They're ready. Don't worry. Aoi said with a smile. When I first arrived at Tai Xian Peak, Master didn't allow me to join the sect. It was eldest senior brother who guided me in my cultivation. Eldest senior brother used himself to teach me that I should be loyal to my friends. In addition, he also prepared 2 congratulatory gifts, Yi Shang said. Aoi and Yang Lei both nodded. They knew that Night Sorrow had almost become Gong Xian's disciple. They also knew that Night Sorrow and Gong Xian had a deep relationship. Prepare 2 more gifts. Night Sorrow, are you paying for me? The heavenly concubine said with a smile. Yes, and Auntie Faye. Night Sorrow nodded. Then Auntie Faye won't be polite with you. You're now the most powerful family in the 9-domain world, Wu Lingfei said with a smile. Night Sorrow didn't refute because it was impossible to be humble. Chapter 2249. Night Sorrow, you've always been humble. Why aren't you humble now? The heavenly concubine smiled at Night Sorrow and asked. Newest 19 chapters Supra and, there's no point in being humble. Our family's treasures, alchemy and blacksmithing materials are indeed of high quality. Night Sorrow shook his head. Let's not talk about other things. Just the materials for this defensive array are something that other factions can't provide. Wu Lingfei pointed at the dark ice unicorn tiger's shining body. After the arrangements were made, Yi Shan told them to call him when they set off. Then he entered the secret cultivation room. He still needed to understand himself. After all, he had just advanced. In addition to the increase in his cultivation level, Night Sorrow's power of merit had increased a lot. He had reached the critical point of the Deluxe Merit Emperor. If he had another breakthrough, he would become the unprecedented Deluxe Merit Emperor. The increase in power of merit made Night Sorrow's deluxe merit Dao body much stronger. After cultivating in seclusion for 2 days, Night Sorrow left with his family after being reminded by his family. The Medicine Valley area was very lively. Although it had experienced 2 big storms with Taishan Peak there, the Medicine Valley was the #1 sect in the 9 domains world. Its position was unshakable. Not to mention other things, the statue of Night Sorrow on Danding Cliff was enough to ensure the Medicine Valley's transcendent status. Medicine Valley's guest house was full except for the reserved rooms. The inns in Danding City were all full. Some people even stayed in Dongshan City, waiting for the Medicine Valley Master's big day. Night Sorrow brought his family, Wu Lingfei, and the heavenly concubine to Medicine Valley. They didn't go through the main entrance. Instead, they wrapped themselves in energy and arrived at Taishan Peak in 2 shuttles. Night Sorrow had just found his footing when July and Ning Yun appeared. The 2 immediately bowed. "Uncle Master. If it's nothing serious, there's no need to be so formal. Let me introduce you. This is Heavenly Concubine, a friend of mine. In the future you must treat her with respect." Night Sorrow helped July and Ning Yun up. "Greetings, Grandmaster, Grandmaster's wives, Lord Golden Phoenix, Lord Heavenly Concubine." July and Ning Yun greeted the others. 13. Gong Xian and the others appeared. Gong Xian immediately gave Night Sorrow a hug. "Greetings, eldest senior brother. Greetings, senior brothers." Night Sorrow cupped his hands and greeted the other senior brothers. Mo Qin and Guan Yi had also returned to the Medicine Valley in advance. 13. 8 senior brother missed you so much. He missed the days when you accompanied 8 senior brother to drink. This time you must accompany 8 senior brother well. Shi Tianlin came over and hugged Night Sorrow. "Ah. I plan to stay here for a while and drink with senior brothers," Night Sorrow said with a laugh. Not only did Shi Tianlin miss the old days but so did Night Sorrow. "Eldest senior brother, has Master been staying at the main peak all this time?" Yang Lei asked. She was the emperor, so she could discover Yu Yangyu's whereabouts with a sweep of her soul power. "Yes, I was originally at the main peak too. After all, I had to deal with some matters in the Medicine Valley, so I had to show my attitude. Now that I'm getting married, Master asked me to prepare for my personal matters," Gong Xian said. "I see. 8 senior brother, didn't you want to drink? Ask your disciples to prepare some food and wine. It's a must to have a big drink tonight," Yang Lei said to Shi Tianlin. After chatting for a while, Night Sorrow brought his family to the bamboo forest peak. This time, Night Sorrow did not refuse guests. He already knew about the changes in the Medicine Valley, so there was no point in avoiding suspicion. The members of the Medicine Valley who knew Night Sorrow came to visit him one after another. Lin Jingyi also wanted to see Night Sorrow, but when she arrived at the Taishan Peak, she was persuaded to go back by Tang Chanshan, who was staying at the Taishan Peak. Tang Chanshan had a lot of interaction with Gong Xian, so she knew some things. She knew that Night Sorrow was disappointed in Lin Jingyi, so she did not want her to discuss Night Sorrow. These things could not be hidden from Night Sorrow and the others. Night Sorrow sighed. Even if Tang Chanshan did not stop him, he would have asked others to. He did not want to see Lin Jingyi. During Gong Xian's wedding, Night Sorrow showed up and presented a gift in public. The Heavenly Concubine and Wuling Concubine did the same. It was the same for the other forces in the 9 domains world. There were a few peaks in the Medicine Valley that did not have a good reputation, but Gong Xian's reputation was very high. Both the forces that should come and the forces that should not come all came, all for the sake of forming good karma. After Gong Xian's wedding, the Heavenly Concubine and Wuling Concubine left. Night Sorrow's children also went out to train. Night Sorrow and his wives stayed at the bamboo forest peak. This situation made the older generation of Medicine Valley very happy. Night Sorrow was back, and Night Sorrow was no longer upset about the past. The disciples of Medicine Valley who joined later were also very happy. Night Sorrow was the pride of Medicine Valley. He was the belief of the disciples of Medicine Valley and the goal of their hard work. Night Sorrow stayed at the bamboo forest peak and went into seclusion. There were no battles in the celestial realm, so he could cultivate in peace. He also had to seize the time because he did not know when the cultivators of the ancient world group would appear. Also, the Demon Wing clan was still watching. This time, Night Sorrow's original body and doppelganger went into seclusion. The doppelganger cultivated the Wuji physical conditioning art. It constantly broke its arms and used the essence blood of the arms to replenish the vital blood of the main parts of the body. Then it used the blood of the black dragon and auspicious blood to regenerate the broken limbs. Then it continued to advance. This was the essence of the Wuji physical conditioning art. The regenerated limbs were not weaker than before. Night Sorrow knew that the problem of his doppelganger's vital blood could be solved with the help of the Wuji physical conditioning art. When the doppelganger cultivated the Wuji physical conditioning art to replenish the lost vital blood, Night Sorrow had an idea. The Wuji physical conditioning art could replenish vital blood, so it could also be used for cultivation. If the original body cultivated it, then the strength of his body would increase, which would be very helpful for the improvement of his merit Dao body. Thinking of this, Night Sorrow shook his head helplessly. He knew that his painful journey was about to begin. In the past, cultivating the myriad Tao Tome required him to strengthen his muscles and bones. Now he had to be even more ruthless and cultivate his limbs directly. Night Sorrow refined some elixirs to replenish vital blood and took out the black dragon's essence blood. Then he broke his left arm and began cultivating the Wuji physical conditioning art. The pain was unbearable. Even if one's cultivation was shocking, the pain of a broken limb was unbearable. Moreover, it was broken by oneself. While Night Sorrow was cultivating, the celestial realm and the 9 domains world quietened down. Also, the matter of the world tree had been settled. The young world tree had been planted behind the heaven-sealing great hall of the 9 domains world. For safety, Night Sorrow had the 9 domains world's origin body watch over it and not allow anyone to get close. No one, including the Yi family, was allowed to get close. The tree spirit's original body had also arrived in the celestial realm. This caused a huge commotion. It was too shocking. The world tree itself was huge, covering the sky and the sun. In addition, the origin energy of the world was also very dense. It was impossible not to cause a commotion. Chapter 2250. Good work. It's their good fortune and ours to be able to find a world tree to settle in. It's hard to say who the celestial realm belongs to. If the celestial realm is doing well, we're happy to see it. Let's not care about anything else for the time being and continue to investigate. We must be cautious and not lose our men easily. It's not easy for our men to enter the celestial realm, Emo Jiantian said. He was not in a good condition and still needed to recover. Emo Jiantian had suffered serious injuries last time. Not to mention his future, it would take a long time for him to recover his full combat strength. The main reason was that the resources he needed were not easy to find. The Heaven Wasteland domain had a long history, but 1,000 reincarnations ago, the Heaven Wasteland domain had gone downhill. After 1,000 reincarnations as a secondary supreme world, their resources were almost depleted. They were not as rich as the 100 races of the celestial realm. Without the strength and opportunity to attack, Emo Jiantian could only wait. He was not afraid because the Demon Imperial City was unbreakable. As long as the Demon Imperial City was not broken, the Demon Wings clan would not be destroyed. In the past 1,000 reincarnations, the Demon Wings clan had been through this. They would attack the celestial realm if they were strong and retreat to defend if they were weak. Now the Demon Wings clan was in the defensive phase because the celestial realm was too strong at this time. Tran Hung and King Yo-Wu were both at the Soul Uniting Realm, the strongest realm before the Divine Tribulation. He and Mo Yutian could not defeat them. In addition, in the Middle Emperor Tribulation level competition, the 100 Kings tribe of the Demon Wings clan was also at a disadvantage compared to the 100 races of the Celestial Realm. The Demon Wings clan did not move, and the Ancient World's cultivators did not move either. The Celestial Realm stabilized. Night Sorrow stayed at the Bamboo Forest Peak. Yang Lei and Aoi were worried about their families, so they left first and returned to the city in the sky. Night Sorrow spent 4 years in seclusion this time. In the accelerated cultivation, he cultivated for more than 200 years. After his doppelganger completely recovered, he began to cultivate the reincarnation true dragon technique. His original body was constantly strengthening his body through the regeneration of broken limbs. In the past 200 years, Night Sorrow's body had been regenerated with the exception of his genitals. While constantly regenerating broken limbs and strengthening his body, every part of his body had been strengthened. His body had also been cultivated to the level of tribulation of 6 emperors, which had once again surpassed his soul realm. In 200 years, Night Sorrow's soul realm had naturally increased, approaching the middle stage of tribulation of 5 emperors. Night Sorrow knew that when the cultivation of the body surpassed the realm, the cultivation method of using strength to prove one's Tao would appear again, and the improvement of the realm would speed up. After ending his seclusion, Night Sorrow went to Gong Shen's residence on Taishin Peak and met with Gong Shen and Tang Chanshan. He was also here to say goodbye. He was about to leave. Gong Xian and the others did not force Night Sorrow to stay. They knew that it was not easy for Night Sorrow to stay in the Medicine Valley for 4 years. In addition, Night Sorrow still had a lot of things to do. After leaving the Taishan Peak, Night Sorrow met with Jianghu again and drank 2 cups of tea with Jianghu. These words had always been in Night Sorrow's heart. After leaving the Medicine Valley, Night Sorrow did not go home. Instead, he went directly to the Heaven-Sealing Great Hall to cultivate. He had a lot of things to cultivate. He entered the soul-nourishing palace in the Heaven-Sealing Great Hall, which was the palace where the soul-nourishing grass was grown. This time, Night Sorrow wanted to increase his cultivation level. While increasing the strength of his body, he also wanted to increase the strength of his soul. As for why he chose the Heaven-Sealing Great Hall, it was because the soul-nourishing grass there grew better than the ones in the Clear Sky Pagoda. After all, the Heaven-Sealing Great Hall had more source energy. When the heavenly concubine discovered Night Sorrow's appearance and wanted to meet with Night Sorrow had already entered the Heaven-Sealing Great Hall. His body cultivation has reached the tribulation of the 6 emperors. Using his body cultivation to drive his cultivation level, he will increase his cultivation level rapidly. This is a true genius, a true demon. The heavenly concubine murmured softly. Then the heavenly concubine smiled. She was glad that she was Night Sorrow's friend. This was because she was sure that going against Night Sorrow would not end well. Going against Night Sorrow would result in a tragic outcome. In the city in the sky, Yi Qingyan, Zhani, and Aoi were chatting. Zhani, you're still young. Also, the matters of the Yi clan are decided by your martial uncle, so... Aoi looked at Zhani and said, Martial uncle won't be angry, right? Zhani said softly. He was called over by Aoi today. No, I called you here today because I wanted to tell you that you don't have to be so secretive. You don't have to feel pressured. If you have any ideas, wait for your uncle master to come back and tell him. Aoi said with a smile. She was worried that Zhani was young and worrying about things every day would affect his mental state. Hence, she called him over. Zhani, don't worry. I'll tell my father when the time comes. Yi Qingyan said. She felt that as his senior sister, she should help Zhani. After all, Zhani was still young. Senior sister, there's no need for that. My father and martial uncle are both responsible men. I, Zhani, am the same. Zhani said. Always smiled and nodded. She didn't say anything else. She was very satisfied with Zhan Yi's attitude. She knew that when a woman got married, the man's shoulders had to be strong and he had to be responsible. Right now, Zhan Yi was acting very responsible. Father is too much. Once he starts cultivating, he doesn't even want his wife and children anymore. Yi Qingyan muttered. You bastard girl. If your father didn't work hard, would the 9 regions world be so stable? If our family was stable, would you be able to live comfortably? Yang Lei entered the room. In the Yi clan, there was no distinction between the family and the children were all educated the same. Scolding was normal. Auntie Qingyan was just saying it casually. I'm not slandering father. Father is Qingyan's pride. Yi Qingyan said. Translator. Endless Fantasy Translation Editor. Endless Fantasy Translation, Auntie understands you children. I know you're joking. However, you can say this at home but you can't say it outside. People will think you're immature. Yang Lei said. Auntie is right. Yi Qingyan nodded. Night Sorrow didn't come out of seclusion. Everything went according to plan. Time passed like this. In the 20th year since Night Sorrow entered the Heaven-Sealing Palace, Zhan Tan and Yi came to the 9 regions world. Lin Piaomiao received Zhan Tan. Sikong Chuyu came to the 9 regions world and shouted in front of the Heaven-Sealing Palace. Night Sorrow's 9 regions clone had come out of seclusion after receiving a message from the 9 regions origin body. His reincarnation True Dragon art had been fully integrated and he was studying its power. His original body was in the final stages of breaking through because he was about to enter the 5 Emperors' Tribulation. As long as he entered the 6 Emperors' Tribulation, Night Sorrow believed that even if he encountered the 9 Emperors' Tribulation, he would be able to defend himself. Chapter 2251. Night Sorrow and Sikong Chuyu returned to the city in the sky. Senior brother is here. Night Sorrow was very happy to see Zhan Tan. I haven't seen you in a long time. Zhan Tan smiled. Yes, we haven't met in a long time. We must have a good chat this time. Night Sorrow nodded. Zhan Tan and Yi came to the city in the sky to see Night Sorrow and to see how their son was doing. While the Yi family was preparing dinner, Zhan Tan and Yi met their son. They were very satisfied with their son's achievements. After hesitating for a while, Jianghu sighed and told his parents that he liked Yi Qingyan. You bastard, you really know how to scheme. You even want to eat the grass beside your own nest. But your senior uncle's son is really outstanding. But I don't know what your senior uncle and auntie are thinking. What about your senior sister? John Tan asked. He knew that this matter was very serious. If it wasn't appropriate, it would hurt the relationship between brothers. Senior sister is fine with it. Auntie knows as well. I don't know what senior uncle thinks. Jianghu shook his head. Jianghu, you can't speak of this matter so easily. This concerns the relationship between our families. You have to know that my relationship with junior brother is more important than anything else. John Tan said. I understand. I'll tell senior uncle later. As for what senior uncle decides, it won't affect your relationship with senior uncle. Jianghu said. John Tan waved his hand. It's fine if I don't know. But now that I know, how can I pretend not to know? That's not what a man would do. Night Sorrow and his wives were chatting. Aoi mentioned Yi Qingyan's situation again. Sixth senior sister, senior brother and senior sister won't mention this matter so easily. They're worried that we won't be willing and will hurt our relationship. Call Qingyan over and ask her. If there's no problem, we'll find a suitable time to let her know. Night Sorrow thought for a while and said. Night Sorrow felt awkward with this arrangement. But it was a matter between a man and a woman. It wasn't appropriate for the woman to ask. It was like she couldn't get married. This was a matter of etiquette and also a daughter's face. If it was anything else, Night Sorrow could have told John Tanming. When women chatted, they would naturally talk about family matters. Aoi, Yang Lei, the 9th General, Zhan Yi, and Qingyan were all casually mentioned to Yi. Yi naturally didn't have any objections and the signal was sent over. What happened next was much easier. Qin Tan and Yi naturally understood what was going on. Junior brother, you've already taken care of things that you shouldn't care about. We've really caused trouble for him by sending the child over. Sandalwood felt a little guilty. He felt that he had caused trouble for Night Sorrow. We do owe junior brother too much. Gu Yi, you know our family situation, so you know what to do. Yi looked at her son and said with a heavy tone. She knew that the Zhan family's current situation started with Night Sorrow's help. After the matter was settled, Sandalwood discussed the matter with Night Sorrow. He said that everything would be arranged by Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow felt that Jianghu was still young. It would be better for the two of them to let nature take its course. When the child mentioned it, then he would take care of it. In addition, Sandalwood told Yi Shang that the Heaven Realm's 100 clans had fought with the ancient world's cultivators several times at the entrance of the Ethereal Dynasty's ancient world. They had blocked the ancient world's cultivators from entering the ancient world. However, the seal's effect wasn't good. Although the seal was strong, it couldn't stop the ancient world cultivators from charging head-on. Junior brother, when are you going to fight? Sandalwood asked. I don't want to fight for now. If the situation is urgent, the city lord's residents and the sect elders will inform me. Night Sorrow replied. He was still in the cultivation stage. He planned to break through the bottleneck of the tribulation of the 5 emperors and reach the tribulation of the 6 emperors first. All right. The God-slaying team hasn't fought for a while. Everyone is waiting for your return, Sandalwood said. Night Sorrow nodded. He was also worried about the God-slaying team. After Sandalwood and Yi left, Night Sorrow continued to cultivate in seclusion in the city in the sky. He had reached the bottleneck of his cultivation stage. He planned to stabilize it first before going for the tribulation. In the city lord's residence of the Ethereal Dynasty, King Yawu and a group of people from the sect elders were present. The ancient world cultivators were constantly charging. Tran Hung was in charge of the heavenly desolate city. King Yawu came over and Lu Qi went to the divine capital to take his place. The cultivators of the ancient world are endlessly trying to break through. Are we going to fight our way in? Emperor Tang asked. No. The ancient world has a long history. Not to mention the high-level cultivators, the middle-level cultivators are stronger than us. If we go in, we will be weak at the entrance. It will be troublesome if we are attacked. King Yawu shook his head and said, should we ask the young city lord to come back? The young city lord is better at war. Qin Xinjie expressed his opinion. Not for now. Night Sorrow is the virtuous merit emperor. He is a cultivator with 2 forbidden attributes. He needs time to improve. Don't disturb him now. When it's time to come out, he will come out. King Yawu shook his head. King Yawu also understood that he was better at individual battles. However, he felt that no one could be more meticulous than Night Sorrow when it came to commanding a war. This was a talent. He and Tran Hung were more domineering and heroic than Night Sorrow when it came to commanding a war. However, they were slightly lacking when it came to details. They could not win a war without losses, but Night Sorrow could. Sect Elder Lin, what's the young city lord situation now? King Tianxing looked at Lin Piaomiao, who had not spoken. For the past 20 years, Night Sorrow has been cultivating in seclusion. A few days ago he showed up. However, as his wife, I could not see through his cultivation. I did not ask, Lin Piaomiao said. She was here with a clone. Her real body was in the city in the sky. Your family is really something. Why didn't you ask about this? Qin Xinjia was really a little conflicted because this kind of thing would not happen in other families. Translator. Endless Fantasy Translation Editor. Endless Fantasy Translation. Yes, let him continue to cultivate. We will deal with these things. King Yewu directly ended the topic. He really did not want to give Night Sorrow too much pressure. The sect elders all left. King Yewu did not move. He looked at Lin Piaomiao and said, Piaomiao, don't tell Night Sorrow about this. His talent in commanding a war is high, but he still lacks the ability to protect himself when he encounters a top expert. Now he needs time to improve his personal combat strength. When he can protect himself in front of any expert, then it will be time for him to come out. Thank you for your understanding, Martial Uncle. Lin Piaomiao cupped her hands at King Yewu. When no one was around, she would call King Yewu Martial Uncle like Night Sorrow. Chapter 2252. It should be successful. He's not a stubborn person. If he reaches a bottleneck or is lost, he will come out, Lin Piaomiao said. As his wife, she knew Night Sorrow very well. That's good, that's good. King Yewu nodded and left. He usually stayed at the entrance of the ancient world in the Misty Dynasty. Now that the elders were having a meeting, he came back to preside over it. After everyone left, Lin Piaomiao looked at Song Ning and said, What kind of world is this? There's no peace. Yeah. Things are happening one after another. The demon-winged clan is being suppressed and the cultivators of the ancient world group appear again, Song Ning said. She was different from before. In the past she didn't care about fighting. Now she just wanted to live a good life with Wu Feng. Night Sorrow was still cultivating in seclusion. He felt at ease. The giants of the celestial realm were suppressing the demon-winged clan. He just had to cultivate hard. As for the cultivators of the ancient world group, he felt that they were a hidden danger that couldn't be solved. No one knew what was going on inside the ancient world group. However, it was stable for now. Tran Hung and King Yewu could solve it. The seclusion this time wasn't long. It was less than 2 months in the real world. Time was accelerated for more than 9 years. Night Sorrow reached a bottleneck in his cultivation and stabilized it. After coming out of seclusion, Night Sorrow left the city in the sky and found a quiet place to trigger the lightning tribulation. In the distance, the heavenly concubine stood with her hands behind her back. Her residence beside the city in the sky had been built long ago. She had been cultivating here. Her cultivation level had reached the soul unification realm a year ago. The heavenly concubine used 50 years in the real world to cultivate the clone. Then, she used 3 years to cultivate to the soul unification realm. If you succeed, then the cultivators of the tribulation of the 9 emperors in the 9 domains world won't be your match. You'll be as stable as Mount Tai, the heavenly concubine muttered to herself. Look. Translator. Endless Fantasy Translation Editor. Endless Fantasy Translation. Heavenly concubine knew about Night Sorrow's situation. Based on the speed at which Night Sorrow took them to Medicine Valley, Heavenly concubine knew that Night Sorrow's strength in 9 regions world was close to tribulation of 9 emperors. If Night Sorrow entered the tribulation of 6 emperors level, the heavenly concubine felt that in the 9 domains world, soul unity realm cultivators wouldn't be able to suppress Night Sorrow. As the thunder tribulation descended, Night Sorrow relied on the energy in his body to withstand it. On one hand he was transcending the tribulation and on the other he was using the Emperor Tribulation lightning to temper his body. Just like when he was in the Saint Realm and Saint King Realm, he was using the energy of the thunder tribulation to baptize his body and strengthen it. Heavenly concubine's eyes twitched when she saw Night Sorrow take on the lightning tribulation. She couldn't even take on a 6 emperor level lightning tribulation. Night Sorrow activated his virtuous Tao body to fight against the lightning tribulation. He used the lightning to baptize his body, making the energy in his flesh, blood, and meridians more solid. Bolts of lightning whizzed down, but Yi Shan stood where he was without moving. He just stood there and endured it. When the lightning tribulation was over, Yi Shang's surroundings were filled with bottomless black holes. Only the spot where he stood was like a stone pillar that supported the heavens. After transcending the lightning tribulation, Night Sorrow let out a long howl. Then he sat down cross-legged to stabilize his cultivation and realm. His body is already so strong at the mid-stage of the tribulation of 6 emperors. It's too terrifying, Heavenly Concubine muttered in a low voice. Heavenly Concubine originally thought that Night Sorrow would take 10 days to half a month to stabilize his cultivation. But in fact, Night Sorrow didn't even get up. He just sat there and cultivated. This made Heavenly Concubine a little puzzled. 3 months later, infinite energy appeared in Night Sorrow's body. The energy of life and death was constantly displayed. So it's the lightning energy that gave him enlightenment. If the infinite energy advances and enters the Emperor Tribulation, then the taboo attribute will be at the top level. Then it will establish the foundation of an absolute powerhouse. Heavenly Concubine clenched her jade-like hands. She was very nervous. According to what she knew, the Demon Wing ancestors' taboo attribute was only at the peak of the high level. If Night Sorrow's taboo attribute broke through to the top level, then he would surpass the Demon Wing clan and the ancestors of the Celestial Realm's 100 races. But in fact, Night Sorrow and Heavenly Concubine were a little helpless. Night Sorrow clearly felt the opportunity to break through, but he couldn't break through that layer of window paper. When Night Sorrow stood up, he naturally noticed Heavenly Concubine, who was guarding him in the distance. His body shook twice, and Night Sorrow went to Heavenly Concubine's side. "Thank you for guarding me. You're still so polite. You're invincible in the 9 zones world. Even if some small fry came to attack you during your tribulation, your merit power and origin power would be enough to suppress them. I have to congratulate you. You've passed the 6 Emperor Tribulation. One more step and you'll pass the 7 Emperor Tribulation. I think you can go anywhere in the world then," Heavenly Concubine said. I can't go to the Demon Wing clan's Demon King City." Night Sorrow smiled. "That's true. You're going to be in a real bottleneck. Merit Cultivation, Taboo Attribute Level, Mid-Level Emperor Tribulation and High-Level Emperor Tribulation. These breakthroughs won't be easy." Heavenly Concubine looked at Night Sorrow and said, "I don't think increasing my level will stop me, but breaking through my merit cultivation and infinity attribute requires an opportunity. It's hard to say when that opportunity will appear." Night Sorrow shook his head. He knew the soul level could be accumulated over time, but breaking through his merit cultivation and infinity attribute could not be measured by time. It required an opportunity. "Your infinity attribute is almost there, right?" Heavenly Concubine asked. "Now that you ask this, I'm really confused. I can clearly feel the bottleneck. I even feel like I can break through in the next moment, but I can't break through the wall," Night Sorrow said. "You can't break through the bottleneck. The bottleneck can't stop you. This is called the bottleneck. Actually, you have the ability to break through, but you don't have enough foundation. It's between breaking through and not breaking through. You feel like you're missing something. You don't need an epiphany at this stage. Slowly accumulating and settling down will allow you to break through. I'll wait for the next time to celebrate with you." After hearing Night Sorrow's feelings, Heavenly Concubine's heart shook. She knew that Night Sorrow's situation was not because he was stuck at a bottleneck. It was because he didn't have enough foundation and accumulation. "If what you said is true, then the merit cultivation bottleneck can't stop me. What I did in the past has always affected the Celestial Realm's 100 races and the 9 zones world. As long as this influence exists, then the merit power will continue to increase. The continuous increase will eventually break through the bottleneck. This bottleneck is only limited by time." Night Sorrow smiled. "Looking at your smile, I'm speechless and angry. How can you cultivate like this? We've worked so hard to cultivate for countless years." Heavenly Concubine stared at Night Sorrow and sized him up. "You're making my hair stand on end. We'll go back and celebrate," Night Sorrow said. After returning to Sky City, Night Sorrow told his family that he had broken through and wanted to celebrate. The Yi family was very happy. "Father, what level are you now?" Yi Shaolei looked at Night Sorrow and asked. "What are you asking a child for?" "Focus on your cultivation," Yi Shan said with a smile. Chapter 2253. In the Yi family, Lin Piaomiao was in the middle stage of the tribulation of 3 emperors. Normally, she would be able to see Night Sorrow's cultivation. However, Night Sorrow had cultivated the leakless true body. Unless her cultivation was much higher than Night Sorrow's, she wouldn't be able to see through it. "All right. I just passed the tribulation of 6 emperors," Night Sorrow said. "Father, We know that you were able to withstand the tribulation of 9 emperors when you were in the tribulation of 4 emperors. Now, Yi Xiaoluo was shocked. They had all seen Wu Lingfei's recording of the battle between Night Sorrow, Heavenly Concubine, and the Black Horned Dragon. They knew Night Sorrow's strength. They didn't expect Night Sorrow to break through 2 levels in the past 20 years. What happened in the past doesn't count. There are many other external factors. Night Sorrow smiled. What didn't count in the past will count in the future. Yi Qingyan looked at Night Sorrow with admiration in her eyes. The Yi family's banquet was very lively. Moreover, it was a celebration for Night Sorrow. The whole family was very happy. After the banquet, Night Sorrow asked Lin Piaomiao about the situation in the celestial realm while drinking tea. Seeing that Night Sorrow didn't plan to continue his seclusion, Lin Piaomiao told him about the current situation in the celestial realm. Very good. My cultivation rose too quickly and I need to settle down. Battles are the best way to settle down. Sister Xin Er, tell your clone in the ethereal dynasty to inform the first army and the god-slaying team to gather and wait for orders, Night Sorrow said as he swirled the teacup in his hand. All right. Lin Piaomiao nodded. Although she hoped that Night Sorrow would be safe, she also understood that battles were the path for Night Sorrow to rise. In addition, she also hoped that Night Sorrow could become all-powerful. Father, can I join the god-slaying team? Yi Xiaoluo asked Night Sorrow. No, you can think of the reason yourself. Don't blame your father for being selfish. Night Sorrow turned and left. Little Luo, I've told you before. You can join any team in the world, but not the team under your father's command, Datura said to his son. Xiaoluo knows, but I still have some extravagant hopes in my heart. Yi Xiaoluo shook his head. Everyone knew why Night Sorrow did not agree. Who was Yi Xiaoluo? As the young master of the 9 domains world, his status in the god-slaying squad was naturally extraordinary. During the battle, no one would let anything happen to Yi Xiaoluo, so they had to take care of him. This would disrupt some of the battle plans, and if it was more serious, someone would die. Don't mention these things anymore. You brothers and sisters are incomparably important in your father's heart. But he won't let your uncles die for you. Lin Piaomiao said. Yi Xiaoluo, Yi Yujun and the others bowed. They understood their father's character. After returning to his residence, Night Sorrow brewed a pot of tea. After drinking it, he shook his head and returned to the main hall. Father Xiaoluo knows his mistake. I won't mention this again. I'm also willing to accept father's punishment. Seeing Night Sorrow return, Yi Xiaoluo bowed and said, What punishment? After drinking a cup of tea, your father calmed down. I feel that my words to you were a bit harsh. It's right for you to have dreams and pursuits. You don't even want to borrow father's name, so naturally, you don't want to borrow your uncle's for anything. It's just that your way of thinking is different from mine. Night Sorrow extended his hand to help Yi Xiaoluo up. Yi Xiaoluo turned around. His eyes were a bit sore, inexplicably sore. How about this? If you want to fight, follow me in the future. Don't mix with others. Night Sorrow said. That's suitable. When the time comes you will follow me. But remember, I will only care about you when you have half a foot in the gates of hell. Heavenly Concubine said. Yi Xiaoluo slammed his left hand into his right palm and cupped his fists towards Night Sorrow and Heavenly Concubine. Then Night Sorrow looked towards Zhan Yi and Yi Qingyan. I'm going to fight now. You guys decide your own matters. If you have any thoughts, tell Grandpa and Grandma. After giving some instructions, Yi Shang left. A father's love was like a mountain. Night Sorrow's children fell silent. They knew that their matters, even if it was a small matter, were extremely important to Night Sorrow. After resting for a night, Night Sorrow set off. His battle doppelganger followed along. In the 9-domain world, his 9-domain doppelganger was enough. In the 9-domain world, his 9-domain doppelganger was invincible. Night Sorrow asked Lin Piaomiao and the rest to meet up with the others in Ethereal Imperial City. He went to the entrance of the Ancient World Group. Night Sorrow. Seeing Night Sorrow arrive, King Wu, who was originally sitting cross-legged, stood up. Greetings, Uncle Master. Night Sorrow bowed to King Wu. 6th Emperor Tribulation Cultivation. Blood chi surged in your body like the tides of the sea. Impressive. King Wu nodded as he sized up Night Sorrow. I'm back. Uncle Master, please tell me what you need, Night Sorrow said. Now that you're back, Uncle Master has a lot more confidence. Now you can deal with some matters on your own. You can take on the truly important matters. King Wu threw a futon to Night Sorrow and let Night Sorrow sit down. Night Sorrow took out 2 jars of wine and drank with King Wu at the entrance of the Ancient World Group. King Yewu was really happy because the divine capital had a successor. The two of them didn't talk about the big picture. They just drank. Night Sorrow, take this. After drinking a jar of wine, King Yewu suddenly attacked Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow's body flashed as he used the void step to distance himself. Then he raised his right hand and grabbed the reincarnation heavenly halberd. Then he added the merit Dao domain to his body. At this time King Yewu also attacked Night Sorrow with his long spear. He did not hold back, nor could he hold back. Night Sorrow activated his merit Dao body. Forbidden energy burst forth as he battled King Yewu in mid-air. Without holding back, Night Sorrow fought to the fullest. Reincarnation energy and primordial energy attacked. Primordial destruction / and reincarnation true dragon art alternated, blocking King Yewu's attack. At this time Blood Kirin King, Golden Dragon King, Heavenly Astral King, and Huang Ling all arrived. They had received the news and came to see Night Sorrow. When they arrived they saw the battle in the sky. Ah, very good. Night Sorrow, you have succeeded. In the future you can go anywhere in the world. King Yewu floated back and put away his divine spear. Thank you for showing mercy, Uncle Master. You didn't embarrass me, Night Sorrow said as he put away the reincarnation heavenly halberd. Uncle Master only used 65% of his battle strength, but you didn't use your battle clone either. Ah, very good. King Yewu was very happy. Congratulations, young city lord. Blood Kirin King and the others cupped their hands at Night Sorrow. They were extremely shocked. They were shocked not only because of Night Sorrow's battle strength but also because of Night Sorrow's potential. Night Sorrow's cultivation was at the tribulation of 6 emperors. This meant that he had the strength to fight against the tribulation of 9 emperors. There was too much room for development. There was still 3 levels of room for improvement. He would be invincible in the world. Thank you everyone. You have worked hard for the past few decades, Night Sorrow said. Chapter 2254. That's right. Stability isn't achieved through defense. It's achieved through fighting. If those who have evil intentions are scared, who would dare to come? The celestial realm is our celestial realm. The foreign races. Let's not talk about fighting their way in. They can't even have evil intentions. Let's start with the cultivators in the ancient world group first, then deal with the demon-winged clan, Night Sorrow said. Although his words were calm, they contained killing intent and boundless dominance. Alright. King Yewu's shoulder-length hair fluttered. He admired Night Sorrow's dominance the most. It was the potential for great things. It was also the temperament of a king. Uncle, do you think it's right? Night Sorrow looked at King Yewu and asked. That's right. I also want to kill them, but I can't split myself. There's no one guarding this place when I go in. I'm worried about other people going in. Now that you're here, I have extra manpower, King Yewu said. After a discussion, Night Sorrow brought his people into the ancient world group. Bloodlin King and Astral King followed. Uncle, I'll also bring the protectors of the 9 regions, Night Sorrow said to King Yewu. Uncle and Tranhung can't say anything about her. You can make the arrangements, King Yewu said. King Yewu and Tranhung knew about the heavenly concubine. They also knew that even if the heavenly concubine didn't hate them, she wouldn't give them any face. All right. Night Sorrow nodded and left on the teleportation formation that had already been set up. Bloodlin King and Astral King decided to fight with Night Sorrow, so they waited there. The young city lord is so domineering, Astral King said. Domineering needs to be supported by strength. The young city lord is qualified, Bloodlin King said emotionally. When he had first met Yishang was still very weak. But now Yishang was incomparable. Not to mention Yishang's super strong fighting strength, even his cultivation level had surpassed Bloodlin King. The future of the celestial realm, the hope of the celestial realm, King Yewu said. The only obstacle is the god-destroying tribulation. Otherwise, the future would belong to the 100 races of the celestial realm. When he saw Night Sorrow, he saw the future of the 100 races of the celestial realm. However, he then recalled that Night Sorrow had already come into contact with the forbidden energy. In an era, the post-celestial Tao would release a tribulation, which was the god-destroying tribulation. The young city lord is already so powerful when he is only at the tribulation of the 6 emperors. Maybe he has a chance to pass the god-destroying tribulation. After all, he has many advantages that no one before him has, Blood Kirin King said. King Yewu nodded. He also felt that there was a lot of hope. Night Sorrow's lifespan was only about 1,100 years. An era was 100 billion years. After returning to the ethereal imperial city, Night Sorrow went to the Night Moon Villa. He saw the first leader and the god-slaying team assembled. Heavenly Concubine and Yi Xiaoluo were also there. Yi Xiaoluo was determined to participate in the battle. "Brothers, I'm back. How have you been all these years?" Night Sorrow looked at the god-slaying team and said, "Very good. But because the leader is not here, we have been cultivating and cultivating." "It's too boring," Long Jin said. "Then you should be happy because I'm going to war." Night Sorrow turned to look at his brothers who had gone through life and death with him. "Okay." Tianyu and the others nodded. Everyone was very excited because they all liked Days of Passion. Night Sorrow asked everyone to prepare. They would depart the next day. After all these years, many of his subordinates already had families. Night Sorrow wanted to give everyone some time to explain to their families. After sending everyone away, Night Sorrow sat in the main hall of the mansion. He brewed a pot of tea and pondered. "What are you thinking about?" Lin Piaomiao sat beside Night Sorrow. "Let's not talk about the first leader. Let's talk about the god-slaying team first. Many of them have families and children. Is it appropriate for me to bring everyone out to fight? Am I dragging everyone down with me?" Night Sorrow said. "You have your concerns, but everyone has their own thoughts and pursuits. Perhaps they love this kind of life," Lin Piaomiao said. "Yes, you are not everyone. How do you know what everyone is thinking?" Yang Lei also came to the hall. Night Sorrow nodded. He felt that there was a need to talk to everyone, consider their feelings and respect their choice. A day later, everyone returned. Without needing to be called, everyone gathered at the martial arts arena. Standing on the stage of the martial arts arena, Night Sorrow looked at all his brothers and shook his head. "Today I have something to say. You have been through life and death with me for many years. Back then we were all young boys. But now it's different. Everyone has succeeded in cultivation, has children, and has a family business. So it's no longer that carefree time. You should all have your own lives." 13th brother, what are you talking about? We are all brothers who have gone through life and death together. Naturally we have to fight side by side. Qingjin stood out and said. "That's right. In the past we were able to fight. What can't we do now?" Ho Jian stood out. Yun Huang stood out. Liang Yu stood out. Everyone took a step forward. Chapter 8, Genuine First Release Sigh. "You guys haven't grown up yet." Night Sorrow smiled bitterly. "We are still the same as before. Furthermore, we can rest assured that as long as one of our brothers is still alive, the family members of our god-slaying squad will be safe and we will be able to live a good life," Lei Bao said with a smile. "That's right. As long as one of us is alive, our families will be safe. This is the promise between us brothers and sisters." Night Sorrow nodded. In the 9-domain world there was a city called Loyalty City. The city wasn't big and wasn't bustling. However, it was exceptionally peaceful. The people who lived here were the families of the god-slaying team. Loyalty City was built by Long Jin, Liang Yu, Lei Bao and the others. Liang Yu, the most stable person, was the city lord. They didn't tell Night Sorrow, but Night Sorrow knew. He went to help set up a defensive formation. "Brothers of the First Army, you guys haven't been with me for long. But I treat you guys the same as I treat them," Night Sorrow said to the soldiers of the First Army. "Thank you, young city lord." The soldiers of the First Army bowed to Night Sorrow. After making things clear, Night Sorrow brought his people to the entrance of the ancient domain world. When Night Sorrow arrived, many people were already there. This was because everyone knew that this was a major event for the celestial realm. It was a foreign war. The Grand Elder came along with some elders. The Grand Elder crushed a soul crystal. Then Tranhung's soul incarnation appeared in front of everyone. "Greetings, City Lord." Night Sorrow cupped his hands in greeting to Tranhung. Chapter 2255. Both King Yewu and Tranhung were afraid of the Ancient World Group. This was also why King Yewu had sent a message to Tranhung and asked him to send his soul incarnation over. "Okay. If it's not safe, I'll bring everyone back," Night Sorrow said. "If the ancient world tree can exist, it means that it's deep and unpredictable. Be careful. If you can't handle it, retreat. Who would have thought that it's not so easy to behave atrociously in the celestial realm?" Tranhung reminded him again. Then his soul incarnation dispersed. The Grand Elder took out a map that Tranhung had asked him to bring. "This is the map that Tranhung asked me to bring. It contains some of his experience in exploring the ancient world group. Some of the situations are also recorded." Night Sorrow opened the map and looked at it. Then he slapped his head. There were hundreds of ancient worlds depicted on the map. Looking at the map, Night Sorrow knew that he had underestimated the situation. Don't feel pressured. Just take it as an experience. Take it as an adventure, King Yewu said. Under normal circumstances, King Yewu would be worried. However, when he saw the heavenly concubine in a white dress standing behind Night Sorrow, he felt more at ease. He also saw the heavenly concubine's realm. She was in the same realm as him. She was in the divine soul uniting realm of the tribulation of the 9 emperors. She was in the strongest realm under the God-destroying tribulation. Then Night Sorrow led his men into the entrance of the ancient world group. Captain, I'll lead a team forward. Shall we coordinate with you? Long Jin asked. No. This time we won't split up. That's too dangerous. This ancient world group is different from the previous battles. In the past, we pursued the enemy's strength and efficiency. This time we'll focus on exploring and understanding. Night Sorrow shook his head. He didn't agree with Long Jin's suggestion. Long Jin nodded. Indeed, this time is different from the previous ones. Night Sorrow led the team forward. When they encountered cultivators who took the initiative to attack or had hostile intent, they would kill them directly. The members of the God-slaying team with a lower cultivation base would attack, while the Blood-Cheelan King and Heavenly Astral King who were slightly stronger would attack. Did you want to fight but never had the chance? Heavenly Concubine looked at Night Sorrow, who was rubbing his fingers, and smiled. Everyone is too crazy. I don't even have the chance to make a move. Night Sorrow smiled bitterly. Battles broke out from time to time, mainly because the ancient world's cultivators had a strong desire to attack Night Sorrow and the others. They don't really fight with each other. Why would they kill us the moment they see us? Lin Piaomiao asked in confusion. It's very simple. Our souls are fundamentally different from theirs. Our souls are from the Supreme World and the future Supreme World. We have the aura of origin energy and the characteristics of life origin energy. This is extremely tempting to them. Refining our divine pearls will be of great help to them, said the heavenly concubine. I see. They see us as materials. Then we can only kill them. We can't let them enter the celestial realm. Hearing the heavenly concubine's explanation, Lin Piaomiao's expression changed. Fundamentally speaking, the ancient world's cultivators are more terrifying than the Demon Wing clan. The Demon Wing clan is fighting with us for the right to rule the celestial realm. It's for the space to live. If the ancient world's cultivators appear, it will be followed by a massacre, Night Sorrow said. The heavenly concubine nodded. She agreed with Night Sorrow's point of view. She was once the divine ancestor of the Demon Wing clan. Naturally, she knew that the Demon Wing clan occupied the celestial realm and ruled it. If the cultivators of the 100 races in the celestial realm submitted to them, they wouldn't kill them. However, the ancient world's cultivators were different. They treated other cultivators as materials. Essence blood, nascent soul pearls, and nascent soul pearls were all materials that they wanted. Don't care about that. If the foreign races are plotting against the celestial realm, we will kill them, said the heavenly astral king. What we lack is strength, said Night Sorrow. With Night Sorrow and heavenly concubine in the team, there wasn't much pressure on them during the journey of battle and training. After a few battles, Night Sorrow had a measure of his own strength. When his original body fought alone, it was slightly stronger than the tribulation of the 8 emperors. However, it was weaker than the tribulation of the 9 emperors. He would be suppressed by the tribulation of the 9 emperors, but he could protect himself. #6 When his original body and avatar fought, they were comparable to the tribulation of the 9 emperors. However, they couldn't suppress them. Night Sorrow's combat power shocked the heavenly concubine. The Blood-Cheelan King and the others also understood that among the 100 races in the celestial realm, other than the 3 giants, Night Sorrow was the strongest. However, this was only the current situation. After entering the group of ancient worlds for a year, Night Sorrow's cultivation had truly stabilized. He had killed many of the tribulation of the 8 emperors. He and the heavenly concubine had killed 5 of the tribulation of the 9 emperors. He and the heavenly concubine had killed 2 of the divine soul unity realm experts. However, the price they paid was relatively high. At this moment, Night Sorrow was injured. In order to block the danger for the God-slaying team, he took 2 attacks from the opponent. His body was penetrated by the opponent's sword. A full power sword attack from a divine soul unity realm expert wasn't simple. It injured Night Sorrow's meridians. Night Sorrow's original body was injured. The situation at that time didn't allow him to think too much. If the divine soul unity realm expert killed his way into the God-slaying team in the first army, then the problem would be serious. There would be a lot of casualties. Looking at the wound on his chest that couldn't be healed due to the corrosion of energy, Night Sorrow released the clear sky pagoda. His original body entered and started to heal while his avatar stood guard outside. The attack power of a Divine Soul Unity Realm expert is too strong. If we take it head-on, we'll be in trouble. Night Sorrow's avatar said. He knew that there was still a big gap between him and a top-notch expert. It was still possible for him to fight skillfully, but if he were to fight head-on, he wouldn't be able to withstand it. It was a fact that his realm was low and his true chi cultivation was inferior to the opponent. Brother Shirsan, it's our fault that you got injured, Qin Jin said apologetically. Just now, when they were watching the battle, they were too excited and got too close to the front. As a result, the opponent attacked them. It's not a bad thing. It also made me understand myself. If I'm injured, I'll just heal myself. It's not a big deal. Night Sorrow patted Qin Jin's shoulder and said. Qin Jin nodded. He knew that Night Sorrow was comforting them. Because Night Sorrow was injured, the team stopped moving. Night Sorrow was the main force of the team. It was important for him to maintain his combat strength at peak condition. The team stopped moving and everyone cultivated to stabilize their cultivation. Night Sorrow wasn't the only one who used actual combat to stabilize his cultivation. The others did the same. A bunch of crazy brats. They're just like their captain. However, this is indeed the fastest way to improve. Blood-Curing King said. Heavenly Concubine looked at Night Sorrow's back as he investigated the situation. Some thoughts appeared in her mind. She knew that the process of injury and recovery was the process of accumulating one's foundation. When one's foundation was enough, the bottleneck of the everlasting attribute would loosen, and the chances of breaking through would be much higher. Inside the clear sky pagoda, Night Sorrow was using the everlasting body tempering art. He was constantly breaking off parts of his body to repair the damage to his main body. At the same time, he was also cultivating. Chapter 2256. The limitless body tempering art was a supreme art for recovering injuries. The body's limbs and main torso came from the same source. It was the most suitable way to replenish other parts of the body. However, the regeneration of broken limbs required a lot of resources. It wasn't something an ordinary person could afford. Luckily, Night Sorrow had accumulated a lot of resources and could afford it. In the real world, 3 days had passed. Night Sorrow had spent half a year in the accelerated healing process before his injuries were completely healed. Half a year wasn't a short time. However, it wasn't easy for Night Sorrow to recover from injuries of that level. It was normal for experts to take decades or even centuries to recover from injuries. Young City Lord, are you okay? Don't leave any old injuries. It's not good for your cultivation. Bloodlin King looked at Night Sorrow, who had merged with his avatar. Night Sorrow cupped his hands at Bloodlin King. Thank you for your concern. I'm fine. I've fully recovered. That's good. That's amazing. It's only been 3 days. Bloodlin King nodded at Night Sorrow. He was really impressed by Night Sorrow. He had seen with his own eyes the extent of Yishang's injuries. I cultivate my body, so I have a bigger advantage in this aspect. However, the ancient world's cultivators are really strong. Their forces are scattered all over the ancient world. They haven't found the entrance to the celestial realm. If they attack together, the celestial realm won't be able to stop them. Night Sorrow said. He was a little afraid. The ancient world's cultivators had been through countless years. Plus, they had a long cultivation heritage. Therefore, they were very strong. Yes, they have a lot of experts. However, they don't have a unified command. If they really work together and find the entrance to the celestial realm, it'll be a big problem. Astral King had the same worry as Night Sorrow. That's right. Therefore, we have to make a new plan. My idea is to use the connection between the ancient world and the celestial realm as the center. We have to clean up all sides and try our best to prevent that tunnel from being discovered. Night Sorrow said. Yes, protecting the celestial realm is our goal, and protecting the spatial tunnel is the most effective way, Lin Piamiao said. Sister Shinner, deploy the Heaven Wasteland Army and send other soldiers to Reincarnation Island. Gather the Heaven Wasteland Army of the 3rd Unified Heaven Wasteland Army and have them prepare for battle at the spatial passageway. If they have doppelgangers, scatter them near the spatial passageway. If other cultivators approach, report it immediately. Sister Shinner, your clone will be stationed at the entrance of the spatial passageway. If anything happens, inform me immediately. Night Sorrow said to Lin Piamiao. Lin Piamiao nodded and went to make arrangements. Reincarnation Island's defense wasn't that important. Reincarnation Island had been reborn for a long time, and the Nirvana tide and extinguishing storm had returned to normal. The possibility of cultivators flying over was extremely low. After the arrangements were made, Night Sorrow led his men and started to move. They didn't go deeper but instead started to explore in an arc. He wanted to clear a space that protected the celestial realm's spatial passageway. The battle was still ongoing, but Night Sorrow didn't have many opportunities to act. Cultivators above the 8 Emperors' tribulation wouldn't appear as they wished. Although there was no battle, Night Sorrow still had some insights in his mind. However, improvement needed to be done step by step and it wasn't easy to achieve. Heavenly Concubine, this is the cultivation technique for the leakless body. Take it and cultivate. After cultivating it, if your cultivation and battle strength are the same as your opponent, your body's energy consumption will be lower, and you will have the upper hand in terms of energy consumption. Night Sorrow wrote a leakless body cultivation technique and handed it to the Heavenly Concubine. I've been coveting your leakless body for a long time and didn't know how to ask. Now I finally got it. The Heavenly Concubine said with a smile. What do you need? Just tell me. You still have to hide things in your heart. How boring. Night Sorrow shook his head and said, I can't bring myself to do this. Oh right, you're suitable to cultivate the Thousand Realms defensive body, but can you ask Tree Sovereign for it? If she doesn't give it to you, I'll give it to you. The Heavenly Concubine thought for a moment and said, I won't make things difficult for you. Night Sorrow shook his head and went into the tent. /original VB version Y29 shots. My life belongs to the 9 regions world. I don't care about favors. The Heavenly Concubine looked at Night Sorrow's figure and muttered. You can't think like that. Night Sorrow treats you as a friend. You're the protector of the 9 regions world. Everyone hopes that you can live happily. Lin Piao Miao said. I know. I know that your Yi family is kind and generous. I was just joking with myself. Don't take it seriously. The Heavenly Concubine said. Lin Piao Miao nodded. She realized that the Heavenly Concubine's mentality was really good. She had such a huge setback, but it didn't affect her state of mind. Instead, she improved by leaps and bounds and cultivated to the Soul Unity realm. Night Sorrow brewed a pot of tea. He drank it while thinking. He felt that things were troublesome. The cultivators of the Ancient World group were too strong. They were much stronger than the cultivators of the Celestial realm. After all, their foundation was different. Their cultivation heritage was too long and they lacked resources. However, they could still cultivate by plundering. What are you thinking about? Bloodlin King entered the tent. The cultivators of the Ancient World group are too big of a threat to the Celestial realm. When they see us, it's like they've seen prey. They're completely crazy. If we let them enter the Celestial realm, it'll be a disaster. Night Sorrow expressed his worries. That's right. They're a huge threat. We can't let them enter the Celestial realm. Bloodlin King nodded. He wasn't confident either. That was why he came to Night Sorrow's tent. We don't have a good plan now. We can only hide the entrance first. Then, we can slowly eliminate the threat of the Ancient World group. Night Sorrow thought for a while and said, that's the only way. But in fact, the Ancient World group is too big. In this 1 year, how many ancient worlds have we discovered outside the map? It's a huge portion. Bloodlin King said. The Ancient World group isn't formed by the destruction of a single sovereign world. It should be an area formed by the destruction of multiple sovereign worlds. Their inheritances are also different. It won't be easy to deal with them. Yishang shook his head. Bloodlin King didn't say anything. He knew that Night Sorrow had thought of the same problem. Let's fight. Let's focus on the Ancient World group. As for the Demon Wing clan, they're not strong enough. They're not a big threat. Of course, with the Demon Imperial City, we won't be able to eliminate them no matter how hard we try. Night Sorrow said. It's okay if the Demon Wing clan stays put. If they jump around, won't it be troublesome? Bloodlin King smiled bitterly. He was worried. Chapter 2257. That's right. If there's a fight, let's fight. Who can say they can take the Celestial realm? We can't take down the Demon Imperial City, but the Demon Wings clan can't take over the Celestial realm either. Blood Kirin King's mind suddenly became clear. Blood Kirin King left. Night Sorrow sighed. If the Celestial realm was ignited, it would be a terrible situation. While Night Sorrow was thinking, the Heavenly Concubine came to the tent. Night Sorrow got up and asked the Heavenly Concubine to sit down. Then he poured a cup of tea for her. I heard what you said just now, but there are some things I need to tell you. If this is only a crisis in the celestial realm, I won't tell you because it's a threat to the 9 regions world. The heavenly concubine sat down and said. Knight Sorrow was stunned. He didn't know what could threaten the 9 regions world because he thought the 9 regions world was very safe. Then the heavenly concubine told him about the Demon Wings clan's ancestor. The ancestor of the Demon Wings clan fought against the human sovereign in the last reincarnation. Actually, he wasn't defeated by the human sovereign. He was attacked by the god-destroying tribulation. In the end, his spirit sea was destroyed by both the human sovereign and the god-destroying tribulation. However, he didn't die completely. His body was taken back to the demon imperial city by the other experts of the Demon Wings clan. His spirit sea was empty, but his soul imprint was still in the reincarnation heavenly halberd. The reincarnation heavenly halberd was in the reincarnation space at the bottom of the Nirvana ocean. The ancestor's soul couldn't return. Last time, when the heavenly concubine took his heir to the reincarnation island, his soul imprint in the reincarnation heavenly halberd went back to the demon imperial city. You're telling me this? Can the ancestor of the Demon Wings clan come back to life? Knight Sorrow's face changed. This was too serious. It's possible. If he comes back to life, the consequences will be severe. His realm is higher than the soul unification realm. He should be a half-step divine emperor. The heavenly concubine said. Yishang slapped his forehead. When it rains, it pours. This news was really bad for him. It was like a bolt from the blue. Closing his eyes, Knight Sorrow was thinking. The situation was too bad. Nobody knew how powerful a half-step divine emperor was, or what kind of special abilities they had. Knight Sorrow, I don't know how to solve this problem. I don't care about the celestial realm, but I'm worried about the 9 regions world. The Demon Wings clan's main target is the new sovereign world, which is the 9 regions world. If the ancestor of the Demon Wings clan awakens, the 9 regions world will be in danger. Of course, cultivators who are stronger than you won't be able to enter the 9 regions world, but nobody knows what a half-step divine emperor is capable of. His body has been circulating for many years, and there's no trace of death chi, said the heavenly concubine. I will do my best. Knight Sorrow sighed. The heavenly concubine didn't say anything else. She knew that Knight Sorrow knew what to do. He wouldn't be caught off guard in the future. She didn't tell anyone. Knight Sorrow's attitude was the same as before. If he had to fight, he would fight. He didn't want to cause panic because it was meaningless to tell others. The demon imperial city couldn't be broken. If the ancestor of the Demon Wings clan wanted to awaken, nobody would be able to stop him. #forever #free reading novels. After fighting for another half a year, Knight Sorrow's clone commanded the battle. His real body entered the Haotian pagoda to cultivate. He wanted to improve himself through the battles. He wanted to break through the bottleneck as soon as possible. Any bottleneck would do. It would be a great leap in strength. Knight Sorrow's real body didn't fight. The heavenly concubine, Bloodlin King, and Astral King knew that he was cultivating hard. Bottleneck, damn bottleneck. Heavenly Astral King watched as Knight Sorrow's doppelganger battled with the tribulation of 9 Emperor's cultivators and was injured again. He kicked a huge boulder into smithereens. He had been stuck at a bottleneck for a long time, but he couldn't break through. Calm down and settle down. Maybe you will be able to break through. Bloodlin King looked at Knight Sorrow and said to Astral King. He was the same as Astral King. They were both stuck at the bottleneck and hadn't made any progress for many years. Astral King let out a breath. He knew what Bloodlin King said was reasonable. He just felt a little depressed. The younger generation was fighting in front of him and he could only watch. He felt very uncomfortable. His real body was in seclusion and his clone was injured. Knight Sorrow ordered the camp to be set up. He wanted to heal and recover. Others didn't know why Knight Sorrow was fighting so hard. He would rather have his clone get injured than fight. The only one who knew was the heavenly concubine. She knew that Knight Sorrow was under a lot of pressure because of her words and the existence of the Demon Wings clan's ancestor. In just a few days, Knight Sorrow's clone came out of seclusion. Everyone noticed that Knight Sorrow's aura had changed a little. It was steady and deep, and it also contained boundless battle intent and killing intent. His robe fluttered without wind. It wasn't energy, but it was caused by his aura and aura. Waving his arm, Knight Sorrow ordered the troops to set off again. The battle still had to continue. After setting up camp again, Heavenly Concubine came to Knight Sorrow's tent. Knight Sorrow, I regret telling you those things and giving you pressure. Some things have to be faced sooner or later. If I know in advance, I can be mentally prepared. Also, I am very grateful to you. Night Sorrow shook his head at Heavenly Concubine. Night Sorrow knew that Heavenly Concubine was in a difficult position. She didn't want to harm the Demon Wings clan, but she also wanted to protect the Nine Regions world. It was a difficult choice, but Heavenly Concubine still chose to stand on the Nine Regions world side. There's no need to be so polite between us. I know who you are and I hope that you know who I am as well. Heavenly Concubine looked at Night Sorrow and said. Night Sorrow smiled. I know who you are. Also, it's enough that I know you're my friend. In one sentence I'll make everything clear. Living in the Nine Regions world might be the best choice in my life. Don't worry. No matter who it is, they won't be able to harm the Nine Regions world. Heavenly Concubine said. Night Sorrow took out 2 jars of wine and gave one to Heavenly Concubine. He sighed and said, the world is full of changes. I don't quite understand what you're saying. Heavenly Concubine took a sip of wine and asked Night Sorrow. Have you heard of the saying that if I'm the best commander, then the best strategist is Jun Xuanji? Night Sorrow said. I've heard of it. Is it because of me that Jun Xuanji isn't willing to help you anymore? Heavenly Concubine asked in surprise. Night Sorrow shook his head and said that there was a rift between him and Jun Xuanji. It would be difficult for them to return to how they were before. Heavenly Concubine didn't quite understand. She knew Night Sorrow's character. Night Sorrow wouldn't give up on anyone by his side for no reason. However, she had never heard of Jun Xuanji's misdeeds. There are some things that you don't need to know, but I can tell you that I, Night Sorrow, am an indomitable spirit. I do things with a clear conscience. However, she's not here but you are. The world is full of changes and I know your abilities and talent. Night Sorrow said. Chapter 2258. If you're talented, you must have a place to display it. Right now you're in a dormant state because I'm not strong enough. I need you to stand behind me. It won't be like this in the future. Night Sorrow said. Then what will it be like in the future? Heavenly Concubine raised her head and looked at Night Sorrow. She followed Night Sorrow's words and asked. She also wanted to know what the future would be like. In the future. Let me think. Of course you'll be all-powerful and dominate the world. In the past you were very glorious in the Demon Wing clan. However, there was one thing that couldn't be denied. You were suppressed by the 100 races of the celestial realm. You couldn't fight whenever you wanted to. However, Heavenly Concubine of the Nine Regions world won't have that. Night Sorrow thought for a moment and said, what you said is very exciting. It's very difficult to live without being suppressed. Heavenly Concubine smiled. It's not difficult. Whoever suppresses us and makes us suppress them will kick them to death. Night Sorrow didn't hesitate this time and directly expressed his opinion. Others might say that it's bragging, but if you say it's not, then we'll wait for that day. Heavenly Concubine nodded at Night Sorrow. As a cultivator, everyone wanted to do as they pleased. However, it was very difficult to truly do as they pleased. In the world of cultivators, experts were everywhere. If one didn't have any scruples, it was very easy to cause trouble. In the worst case, one would be killed or even die. However, Night Sorrow didn't exist. Firstly, Night Sorrow had a very high reputation in the celestial realm. Secondly, he was the virtuous human emperor. Going against the human emperor? A cultivator who did not have a problem with their mental state would not do such a thing. Another thing was strength. Now that Night Sorrow's original body and avatar were fighting, the tribulation of 9 emperors cultivators couldn't suppress them. When Night Sorrow entered the tribulation of 7 emperors, he would be similar to the divine soul unity realm. Even if he wasn't as strong, he would still have the ability to protect himself. Who would be able to suppress Night Sorrow? Night Sorrow was the realm master of the Nine Regions world and Heavenly Concubine was the Heavenly Concubine of the Nine Regions world. Their honor and disgrace were one. Yongjiu, I'll have to trouble you for the time being. But if you have any thoughts or opinions you can tell me. I trust you, Night Sorrow said. Alright, your face is big. No one will object to what you approve. Heavenly Concubine looked at Night Sorrow and said. If Night Sorrow believed her, then no one would doubt her. She had known this for a long time. Is it okay for you to chat like this? You make it sound as if I rely on my face to make a living and travel the world. Yishang helplessly smiled after hearing this. Why not? Having a big face was a skill. Without ability and prestige, how could he have any face? Face is an evaluation of one's overall ability. Having a big face is a display of one's status and strength. With just a sentence you can solve problems without fighting. That's the realm. Heavenly Concubine corrected Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow smiled because what the heavenly concubine said made sense. Lord Heavenly Concubine is right. Relying on your face to make a living is the highest realm. Blood Lin King entered Night Sorrow's tent. Blood Lin King is here. Sit. Night Sorrow stood up and cupped his hands. Heavenly Concubine also stood up and cupped her hands with Blood Lin King before sitting down. I'm here to tell Young City Lord that there's no need to worry about the spatial tunnel. The Qilin race, the Ice Phoenix race, and the elites of the Humanitarian League have all arrived. We didn't mobilize the people of Sky Desolate City, so there's no need to worry. Blood Lin King said. All right. Although the ancient world group's cultivators might not discover the spatial tunnel, we have to be prepared. Also, we can't hide this from the Demon Wing race. Mo Zhantian and Mo Yutian should know. However, it's hard to say if they'll dare to attack Sky Desolate City. With Tran Hung holding the fort, it's useless even if they come. Their subordinates will be suppressed by the elders and Sky Desolate City's army. Night Sorrow said. He felt that the current arrangement was safe. If the ancestor of the Demon Wing race woke up, it would be a different matter. With the spatial tunnel stabilized, we have nothing to worry about. We can focus on dealing with things here. Blood Lin King explained the situation to Night Sorrow and left. Heavenly Concubine, there are some people in the celestial realm who know about your situation. However, no one looks down on you. My uncle and Tran Hung are very friendly. Night Sorrow looked at Heavenly Concubine and said. It's still the same as before. Their attitude is only good because of your face. As for looking down on me, they won't. I respect and admire Tran Hung and King Yawu. They don't respect and admire me, but at least they won't look down on me. Heavenly Concubine nodded. Experts respected each other. To be able to cultivate to soul unity, they had gone through a lot of hardships. They all needed respect. This was also respect for themselves. Heavenly Concubine chatted with Night Sorrow for a while. Then she left Night Sorrow's tent. After resting for a night, the team moved forward again. Night Sorrow used the spatial tunnel as the center. He wanted to clear out an empty space. This way he could do his best to prevent the spatial tunnel from being discovered. The battle was still going on. However, without a high-level Tribulation Emperor, Night Sorrow wouldn't do anything. This was also requested by Heavenly Astral King and Blood Lin King. They were Tribulation 5 Emperors. They also needed to fight under pressure. During the battle, the members of the God-slaying team and the First Army fought very hard. After the battle, Heavenly Concubine would give some pointers to the members of the God-slaying team. It wasn't like this at first. After Heavenly Concubine gave Yi Xiaoluo a few pointers, the members of the God-slaying team would ask some questions. Heavenly Concubine wasn't stingy with the members of the 9-domain world. She would explain the problems she discovered. She was Soul Unity Realm. She had lived for a long time. She was experienced and had sharp eyes. Therefore, she could see everyone's strengths and weaknesses. She could give specific pointers. Slowly it became a habit. After the battle, the members of the God-slaying team would ask Heavenly Concubine for pointers and comments. Night Sorrow knew that this was a good thing. It was the beginning of Heavenly Concubine's true integration into the 9-domain world. The members of the God-slaying team were the core of the 9-domain world. They were also a group of top cultivators. Just by giving pointers, the interaction between the two sides would be very harmonious. In this situation, the members of the First Army weren't happy. They also came to find Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow was a bit conflicted. However, he couldn't say this to Heavenly Concubine. He knew that Heavenly Concubine's attitude towards the members of the Celestial Realm was different from the members of the 9-domain world. As if she knew Night Sorrow's difficulties, Heavenly Concubine didn't say anything to Night Sorrow. Heavenly Concubine would also tell a bit about the First Army's situation. However, there was still special treatment. Heavenly Concubine didn't hesitate to teach some battle techniques to the members of the God-slaying team. However, she only gave pointers to the members of the First Army. This situation made Night Sorrow realize that it wasn't easy. Blood Lin King and Heavenly Astral King expressed their gratitude to Heavenly Concubine. The members of the First Army didn't know about this, but the two of them did. They knew that this situation was already very rare. Chapter 2259. Oh. My original body and doppelganger are both here. My 9-domain doppelganger cannot leave the 9-domain world. Asked the young world tree. She is still in a daze. She doesn't know anything. Night Sorrow said with a smile. That's true. Are you in a hurry? Heavenly Concubine asked Night Sorrow. No hurry. I can cultivate a lot of things now. I haven't reached the point where I can't improve. Don't make things difficult for yourself. Everything is fine now, Night Sorrow said to Heavenly Concubine. Heavenly Concubine nodded. She noticed that Night Sorrow's body was constantly improving. She knew that Night Sorrow's original body was constantly improving. Ever since Heavenly Concubine told Night Sorrow about the Demon Wing clan's ancestor, Night Sorrow had been using his doppelganger to lead the team. His original body stayed in the space with the soul-nurturing grass. While strengthening his soul, he continued to cultivate the limitless body-tempering art. His body's cultivation had been steadily improving. As his original body improved, his doppelganger naturally improved as well. In addition, Night Sorrow's defensive technique, Space-Time Realm, had also improved. In the past, when Night Sorrow used Space-Time Realm, he used Space-Time energy to protect his body. Now he used primordial energy to protect his body. His defense was much stronger than before. Moreover, it was much smoother when he used it. This was the result of the 9-domain doppelganger's closed-door cultivation. Different techniques required different types of energy to be used. Space-type techniques were most compatible with space-time energy. Using other types of energy was great, but it was easy to not be compatible. If it wasn't compatible, it couldn't be used at all. The increase in Space-Time Realm's power allowed Night Sorrow to have more defensive methods. Night Sorrow and his subordinates used close to 3 years to clear a large area near the entrance of the Celestial Realm and the Ancient World. Using 3 years to clear out an area that was absolutely safe, Night Sorrow was quite satisfied. Knowing that his subordinates were working hard, Night Sorrow brought them out of the Ancient World group into the outer area of the spatial tunnel. You have half a year to rest and recuperate. Gather here after half a year, Night Sorrow ordered. As an experienced cultivator, Night Sorrow knew that one had to have a balance between tension and relaxation when cultivating. Being tense all the time would allow one to improve quickly, but it would be detrimental to one's state of mind. He dismissed the troops and asked Lin Piaomiao to bring the Heavenly Concubine, his wives, and Yi Xiaoluo to the Night Moon Villa to rest. He communicated with King Yowu about the current situation. Your method can guarantee that there will be no war in the Celestial Realm for a short period of time, but that is not necessarily the case. This is an era of gods and demons. Some things that should and should not happen will happen. This is the end of the era, King Yowu said. After pondering for a while, Night Sorrow set up a barrier and told him about the information the Heavenly Concubine told him about the Demon Wing clan's progenitor. Hearing Night Sorrow's words, King Yowu was silent. After a while he looked at Night Sorrow. The possibility is very high. According to the Heavenly Concubine's level and personality, if the probability was low, she would not have told you at all. It would not have affected your state of mind. Since she has told you, then the danger is very big. I will inform Tran Hung later. Don't let others know. Not only will it be useless, but it will also cause panic. I understand. Currently only I and Uncle Master know. Night Sorrow nodded. Yes, you have already arranged some things very well. Seeing you grow up, Uncle Master is very pleased. This is nothing. If that guy comes, Uncle Master and Tran Hung will take care of him. Uncle Master may not be able to, but Tran Hung should be able to do it with the help of Tianhuang City, King Yowu said. Night Sorrow nodded. Then I will go home and take a look. Go home and take a look. You don't know how many people are jealous of you, King Yowu said with a smile. Going home to take a look was an extravagant hope for many cultivators. Without family, home was no longer home. Cultivators were lonely. There were almost no cultivators like Night Sorrow in the Celestial Realm. In Night Moon Villa, there were some members of the God-slaying team. Both Sandalwood and Yi were there. Sandalwood was a member of the God-slaying team, and Yi often spent time with Night Sorrow's wife. Let's go and pay a visit to Master, Night Sorrow said to Sandalwood. 8 Yo Zheng, 1st edition CS. Haha. I have been waiting for you here, Sandalwood said with a smile. In Night Moon City, Night Sorrow and Sandalwood paid a visit to Master Qing Emperor and Master's wife Misty Rain. I am very happy that the two of you have achieved great things. I have lived for a long time, but the past 1,000 years have been the happiest and most worrying days. I am happy that Master's wife has returned. Sandalwood, I am happy that you have recovered and achieved great things. Night Sorrow, I am even happier that you have achieved great things. It is just that I have been very worried for the past 700 years. I am sorry for making you worry, Master. Night Sorrow stood up and cupped his hands towards Qing Emperor. Sit down. You have not done anyone wrong. Do not say such things in the future, Misty Rain said. I will remember Master's wife's words. Night Sorrow nodded towards Misty Rain. A disciple is half a son. You and Sandalwood are both great. You are much better than the other children of your master and I. Sandalwood, master's wife, was biased against you in the past. Please do not take it to heart. Misty Rain looked at Sandalwood and Night Sorrow. Master's wife is too serious. I've never thought of it that way. Sandalwood stood up and bowed towards Qing Emperor and Misty Rain. You too. We all know Sandalwood's character. No one will care about those things. Do not mention it in the future. Qing Emperor looked at his wife and said, All right. Night Sorrow, master's wife wanted you to be her son-in-law. However, you are not fated to be with Qing Wan. There is no other way. Misty Rain changed the topic. Master's wife is right. It depends on fate. By the way, how is senior brother? Was he affected by that incident? Night Sorrow asked about Qing Lin. Mo Xiaolan had plotted against him. Night Sorrow was worried that Qing Lin would be hurt. A little. Fortunately, it was not serious. He knew that Mo Xiaolan was scheming and using him from the beginning. She was not worthy of his love. Give him some time and he will get over it. Qing Emperor said. After chatting for a while, they agreed to have dinner together. Night Sorrow went to the back of Xingyue City because the World Tree was there. At this time, the entire Xingyue Island was covered by the World Tree. The tree crown extended in all directions and covered the sky above Xingyue Lake. When Night Sorrow arrived, the tree spirit appeared. Are there any drawbacks to settling down here? Do you need me to solve anything? Night Sorrow looked at the tree spirit and asked. There is no need. The environment here is much better than the original world. My roots can reach into the ground and enter the void. I can absorb a lot of energy. I can even extend my original lifespan. The damage caused by moving will also slowly disappear. Tree Spirit said. Chapter 2260. Cultivators below the high-level Emperor Tribulation shouldn't be able to harm the main body. As for those above the high-level Emperor Tribulation, the main body wouldn't be able to withstand it. Because I don't want to cause a calamity or start a war that shouldn't happen, I didn't touch the Thousand Realms whirling defense when I left. Instead, I sent them into the vast void to fend for themselves, the Tree Spirit said. Night Sorrow nodded. He understood that the Tree Spirit didn't bring its Thousand Realms whirling defense with it. There were both pros and cons. If the Tree Spirit brought its Thousand Realms whirling defense with it, it would cause great damage to the original Thousand Realms whirling defense. If the Thousand Realms whirling defense entered the Celestial Realm, it would cause a huge impact to the Celestial Realm. It would cause a chain reaction. The disadvantage of not bringing the Thousand Realms whirling defense was that the World Tree's defense would be weakened. How long do you think it will take for the Tree Spirit's defense to form? How do I cooperate? Night Sorrow asked. The Thousand Realms whirling defense is impossible. The main body will set up a Sumeru world near the main body and pay close attention to the situation inside. If a high-level life form invades, the main body will notify you to clean it up. If this branch lights up and vibrates with energy, you can come over, the Tree Spirit said as a branch appeared in its hand. Okay. By the way, does Senior not have a companion guardian? Night Sorrow asked. Yes, when the main body was transcending the tribulation, she turned into energy and entered my body. She interfered with the tribulation lightning. The main body survived, but she died. The Tree Spirit shook its head. After listening to the Tree Spirit's explanation, Night Sorrow understood why he didn't see the World Tree's companion last time. It was because the Tree Spirit's guardian had died. Then, the Tree Spirit told Night Sorrow that the World Tree in the Nine Realms world had to be protected. Because of karma, the Tree of Life would no longer have a companion. Therefore, her safety had to be taken care of. Don't worry, Venerable Tree. She is very safe in the Nine Regions world. She has the World Origin body to take care of her. My battle avatar is also there, said Night Sorrow. The Tree Spirit said, You're very young and you're the most talented cultivator I've seen in so many years. I'll sort out some of the cultivation inheritances from the Origin realm and give them to you when the time comes. Thank you, Tree. Do you have a Thousand Realms defensive body? Night Sorrow asked with a smile. The Tree Spirit nodded. Of course. Your attributes are indeed suitable for the Thousand Worlds defensive body. Come and get it in 2 days. Thank you, Supreme Tree. Night Sorrow bowed to the Tree Spirit. You don't have to be so polite. You have the potential to become immortal, so you have to work hard. If you can survive that tribulation, you will be able to bring blessings to the Celestial Realm and the Nine Realms. My daughter and I will also be blessed by you, said the Tree Spirit. Night Sorrow nodded. Then he chatted casually with the tree spirit and left. During dinner, the Qing Emperor asked Knight Sorrow about the protection of the World Tree. "Master, you don't have to worry about this. Just pay attention to the defense of Starmoon City. The World Tree has its own way of protecting itself," Knight Sorrow said to the Qing Emperor. The Qing Emperor nodded. Although he couldn't see through it, he knew that the World Tree was of a very high level. Knight Sorrow stayed in Starmoon City for a few days. Then he was summoned by the World Tree and went to the area where the World Tree was located. He even passed through a Sumeru space. However, the Sumeru space wasn't very big. It had just been created. It's positive, version 28M. Why the tree spirit appeared and handed Knight Sorrow a few pieces of wood. They were all cultivation inheritances. "Thank you, Lord Tree Spirit, for what you have done for the celestial realm and the 9-domain world." Knight Sorrow bowed to the forest. "You're wrong. These are for you. If others want to cultivate it, they have to see if it's suitable for them. Take the 1,000 Realms defensive body for example. If you give it to others, they won't be able to learn it. Instead, they will know your trump card," the tree spirit said. Knight Sorrow nodded. Inheritances were no small matter. They could raise the cultivation level of a world. Just like the Myriad Dao treasured tome, if there were many people who could cultivate it, it would be a sect. Knight Sorrow left Starmoon City and returned to the 9-domain world. He passed the inheritances to the 9-domain clones. His original body would know about the inheritances if the 9-domain clones studied them. It was safe to leave them in the 9-domain world. There was no risk of losing them. Even if his original body and battle clones died, the inheritances wouldn't be affected. After arranging the inheritances, Knight Sorrow returned to the Night Moon Villa in the Ethereal Dynasty. Then he thought about the problem. The human heart wasn't what it used to be. He wouldn't give away the inheritances casually. As for establishing a sect, Knight Sorrow didn't think about it. He didn't have the energy or ambition to do so. After thinking for a while, Knight Sorrow decided to put this matter aside for the time being. He would study the 1,000 Realms defensive body first. After some research, Knight Sorrow found that the 1,000 Realms defensive body wasn't something that could be cultivated in a short time. Therefore, he passed it to the 9-domain clones to study. Knight Sorrow's original body cultivated while his clones accompanied his family. After cultivating at home for a few days, Knight Sorrow went to Tianhuang City and saw Tranhung in front of the 9-dragon heaven and earth cauldron. After bringing Knight Sorrow into the 9-dragon heaven and earth cauldron, Tranhung poured a cup of tea for Knight Sorrow and said, "You did well this time. You managed to buy some time for the celestial realm." Knight Sorrow shook his head and said, "Treating the symptoms but not the root cause. It will be a problem after a long time." Tranhung said, "We can't rush these things. Once the World Tree arrives, the celestial realm won't be destroyed. If there's a war, we can deal with it. No matter how strong the ancestor of the Demon Wing clan is, he's still below the God Emperor realm. There's nothing that we can't deal with. If this seed isn't a match for him, then we'll talk about other things." Knight Sorrow nodded. He knew that Tranhung was very strong. As the #1 expert of the Celestial Realm's 100 clans, he had fought in foreign worlds all year round. He had met all kinds of experts, but defeat was proof of strength. After talking for a while, Knight Sorrow left. He didn't need to worry about the matters in Tianhuang City. Seeing Knight Sorrow enter the teleportation array, Tranhung nodded. He knew that Knight Sorrow could handle some things. He had seen Knight Sorrow's progress. After leaving Tianhuang City, Knight Sorrow went to the entrance of the Ancient World Group. He took out the Clear Sky Pagoda and went in to cultivate. Cultivating here made him feel at ease. If anything happened, he would be able to know immediately. Seeing Knight Sorrow enter seclusion immediately after arriving, King Yawu shook his head. He knew that Knight Sorrow was anxious and stressed. However, he didn't know how to persuade him. Time passed slowly. The members of the God-slaying team and the First Army slowly returned. They were waiting for the second operation. Knight Sorrow didn't come out of seclusion. His original body was cultivating, while his battle clones and 9-domain clones were studying the 1,000 Worlds defensive body. If one wanted to beat someone, one had to learn how to take a beating. Only with a strong defense would one have the confidence to fight. Only with a strong defense would one have the qualifications to fight. In the past, Knight Sorrow relied on his strong body to fight those of a higher level. Now he was easily injured because his defense wasn't strong enough. Knight Sorrow's 2 clones were studying the 1,000 Worlds defensive body to strengthen his defense and increase his confidence in fighting. Chapter 2261. Everyone had arrived. Night Sorrow's battle doppelganger appeared and gave the order to get ready. They would set off in a day. After giving the order, Night Sorrow sat opposite King Wu. He set up the tea table and made a pot of tea. Night Sorrow, you're going to battle again. I don't know what to say, King Wu said. Senior uncle, I've already set a goal this time. It's to consolidate the area we've occupied. We have to ensure the safety of the area around the spatial tunnel. We can't be discovered by the ancient world's cultivators. Night Sorrow explained his plan. Okay, we've also strengthened the arrangement of spies and scouts. As long as there are cultivators from the ancient world group, we'll get the news. Patriarch Lin will inform you when the time comes, said King Wu. Night Sorrow led the team and Lin Piaomiao's doppelganger followed. She stayed at the space tunnel and was responsible for communication between the two sides. Then it settled. Uncle, make arrangements to strengthen the security of the Misty Dynasty. The safety of the World Tree is still important. It's better to be safe than sorry. It's necessary to seal it off, Night Sorrow said after thinking for a while. Okay. I'll send a part of the fairy's capital army over right away. King Wu nodded. Fairy's capital was one of the 2 cities of the Celestial Realm. It was the most civilized city. Although it was not as good as Tianhuang City in terms of defense, its army was still very strong and could easily crush any force. After everything was arranged, Night Sorrow led the team into the ancient world group and started the second battle. Night Sorrow led the team to check the areas that had been cleared before to see if there were any new cultivators entering. During the check, Night Sorrow met the scouts of the Tianhuang army. The scouts reported the situation to Night Sorrow. While they were advancing, Night Sorrow was also perfecting the map. He divided the area near the entrance into 100 regions and then communicated with Lin Piaomiao. Lin Piaomiao's main body wrote the map and then arranged the deployment. Every region had to be defended and there had to be scouts. This workload was relatively large and it took Yi Shan and his men a year to complete it. In other words, the Heaven Wasteland Army scouts were stationed in the area where the spatial passageways were located, including the small ancient worlds next to the spatial passageways. After the defensive arrangements were made, Night Sorrow led his men deeper into the forest and expanded the safe zone. After entering a new area, the number of cultivators in the ancient world group had increased. Naturally, there would be constant battles. The morale of the god-slaying team and the warriors of the first command was high. Even if they encountered opponents with higher cultivation than them, they would still be able to surround and kill them. They had cultivated the combined attack array, so their ability to fight in groups was strong. It was not difficult for them to fight against opponents with higher cultivation levels. Of course, there was a limit to this. When a cultivator whose cultivation was much higher than theirs appeared, Lin Piaomiao, Blood Lin King, and Heavenly Astral King had to fight. Night Sorrow would sometimes say a few words to summarize the battle. Night Sorrow's first battle happened a month after they opened up the new map. He encountered an ancient cultivator with Tribulation 9 Emperor's cultivation. This time, the battle was extremely intense because Yi Shang refused to retreat. He continued to fight to the death with his opponent. The two of them fought from the sky to the ground, and then from the ground to the sky. Watching Night Sorrow's battle, Mo Tianji murmured, "Thousand Realms defense. It seems that he has cultivated it." Heavenly Concubine discovered that when the ancient cultivator's attack reached Night Sorrow, part of it would ripple and then disappear. The remaining part would hit Night Sorrow, and part of it would be offset by the virtuous Virtue Dao body. The remaining part would not be able to do anything to Night Sorrow. "What's the Thousand Realms defense?" Lin Piaomiao asked. "It's the defensive technique of the World Tree. Outside the World Tree there are 1,000 Sumeru spatial worlds. Outside this range it's impossible to attack the World Tree. There's a hazy energy outside Night Sorrow's body. That's the embryonic form of space. Although it's not real space, it can block and contain the energy of the opponent's attack," the Heavenly Concubine said. She felt that there was no need to hide it from others. "Then did you and Auntie Fei get any benefits?" Lin Piaomiao asked with a smile. "The World Tree recognizes Night Sorrow. However, it said that it's fate that we met her. She gave us each a world origin branch. It should be a material that can be used to forge weapons." Heavenly Concubine said as she took out a branch. There was only one leaf on it, but the leaf was green and filled with origin energy and vitality. "This is also a great harvest," Lin Piaomiao said with a smile. "Yes, this is an absolute treasure. It's good for cultivation. Take it." Heavenly Concubine pushed the branch to Lin Piaomiao. "No. I don't need it." Lin Piaomiao took a step back and waved her hand. She knew that it wasn't easy to get this branch. Heavenly Concubine and Night Sorrow had risked their lives to get it. Alright then. You're Night Sorrow's wife. The world tree has settled down in the 9 regions world. You can go to the Heaven Sealing Palace to cultivate. Let's watch the battle first. Heavenly Concubine didn't force Lin Piao Miao. Night Sorrow and the Ancient Cultivator continued to fight violently. Neither side could suppress the other. Night Sorrow's defense could block a portion of the attacks, but his chi cultivation was low. Even if his body strength was lower than the Ancient Cultivator's, he couldn't deal much damage to the Ancient Cultivator. A battle of attrition, the Ancient Cultivator lost. After watching for a while, Heavenly Concubine made a judgment. When both sides couldn't do anything to the other, it was a battle of attrition. In a battle of attrition, Night Sorrow had the leakless true body. Aside from the necessary consumption, he didn't lose any energy. He had an absolute advantage. The battle lasted for an entire day. When the Ancient Cultivator was exhausted, Night Sorrow's power of virtue exploded. He used the Human Emperor's seal to suppress the Ancient Cultivator. Then he used all his skills to kill the Ancient Cultivator. However, in the final stage, the Ancient Cultivator attacked with all his strength. This attack broke through Night Sorrow's protective energy. The embryonic space defense was also broken. There was a hole in the Ancient Cultivator's chest. Very good. This is a milestone for the young city lord. He killed the Ancient Cultivator with just a clone. Blood-Curing King was very excited. I still got hit by the Ancient Cultivator. Night Sorrow touched the blood on his chest and said, "If you only wanted to win the battle, you wouldn't be injured. If you weren't anxious, you wouldn't be injured. You were just a little impatient." Heavenly Concubine said. Night Sorrow nodded. He stopped the Ancient Cultivator from escaping. The Ancient Cultivator was desperate and used a suicidal attack. That was why he was injured. After that, Night Sorrow entered the Clear Sky Pagoda to heal himself. A 6 Emperor Tribulation Cultivator killed a 9 Emperor Tribulation Cultivator? Heavenly Astral Monarch still couldn't accept the situation. Yes. From the beginning to the end, Night Sorrow dominated the battle. If the Ancient Cultivator ran at the beginning, Night Sorrow might not have been able to kill him. However, he wasn't afraid of Night Sorrow in the beginning. Heavenly Concubine said. Chapter 2262. Now that we have a grudge, we have to solve it. If he runs away, this karma will be troublesome in the future, Bloodlin King said. Heavenly Concubine nodded. She knew this, but there was something she didn't say. Night Sorrow fought to the death to force her to improve herself. After getting injured, Night Sorrow entered the Hao Tian Pagoda and used the Wuji body tempering art to heal his body. If a normal mid-level Emperor's Tribulation Cultivator was killed by a high-level Emperor's Tribulation Cultivator, the consequences would be serious. Their body might be destroyed or their foundation might be damaged. However, Night Sorrow's body was strong. It was not weaker than a 9 Emperor's Tribulation Cultivator. So he was injured. There were no other problems. A few days later, Night Sorrow came out of seclusion. This battle only left him with the essence of understanding. There was nothing else. There was not even a scar. Night Sorrow came out of seclusion and made a pot of tea. He called Heavenly Concubine, Blood Lin King, Heavenly Astral King, and Lin Piao Miao over to discuss the next plan. They wanted to see if there were any good ideas or suggestions. Under the circumstances of ensuring our safety, this is the right way to clean up. But young city lord, we can't fight like this. If something happens, we will lose no matter how great the battle results are, Heavenly Astral King said. He was scared now. He was afraid that something would happen to Night Sorrow. Yes, young city lord, you are the foundation of the celestial realm's 100 races and the 9 regions world. If something happens to you, we will lose no matter how great the battle results are, Bloodlin King said. I understand your worries, but don't worry. My original body hasn't moved because I feel confident. Also, if there is a problem, Heavenly Concubine will help, Night Sorrow said. But you have to be careful. If something unexpected happens, even if I want to save you, it's not too late. Heavenly Concubine shook her head. In fact, when Night Sorrow was injured, she didn't have time to stop it. She didn't expect Night Sorrow to risk his life. Even if Night Sorrow moved away, she wouldn't let that guy escape. I'll be careful. Night Sorrow nodded. The cleanup operation was still in progress. Zhuodong was leading the first army, while Long Jin was leading the god-slaying squad. Most of the time Yishan was thinking. A satisfying battle would be of great help to his cultivation. 2 months later, the Bloodlin King returned. He found a bottleneck to break through and wanted to go back into seclusion to cultivate. However, the Golden Dragon King came to replace him. Young City Master, it's good to follow you. We've all been stuck at a bottleneck for a long time. Bloodlin King came out twice and then went back to breakthrough. The Golden Dragon King was in high spirits. In the Celestial Realm, the three leaders had the highest cultivation, followed by the leaders of the mythical beast clans. However, they were all stuck at a bottleneck and couldn't break through. Night Sorrow went to the Bloodlin Mountain once and the Bloodlin King fought with the Black Dragons. After settling down, he broke through. When Night Sorrow was sleeping, he worked hard to reach the next bottleneck and found another opportunity to break through. That's because the Bloodlin King has a strong foundation, Night Sorrow said with a smile. It's related to luck. Those who have a body of merit will have luck. Besides, young City Master, you don't just have a body of merit, Heavenly Astral King said. Haha, then I hope everyone can break through. However, the battle must continue, Night Sorrow said. He didn't ask about the Bloodlin King's situation, but he knew the Bloodlin King wasn't as strong as he was now. Back then, the Bloodlin King's clone was on par with the Black Dragons and Long Zhe. At most, he was a little stronger. Of course, he had to control the formation and save Lin Yu. However, the difference was huge. The team continued to move forward and continued to clear out the practitioners in the Ancient World group. The Golden Dragon King was crazier than the Bloodlin King and Heavenly Astral King. When there was a battle, he pulled his nephew Long Jin and fought fiercely. He didn't care about the danger at all. This gave Night Sorrow a headache. He told the Heavenly Concubine to support him at critical times. The Heavenly Concubine nodded. She knew what Night Sorrow didn't want to see the people around him in trouble. Night Sorrow had sacrificed a lot over the years, but he had achieved the feat of not losing anyone around him. In fact, it wasn't just the Golden Dragon King who fought crazily. The God-slaying team in the First Army were the same. After another battle started, Night Sorrow and the Heavenly Concubine watched from the side. Neither of them made a move. The Heavenly Concubine shook her head and said, "You're full of energy. Not to mention that the combat power of your subordinates exceeds their cultivation level. Their cultivation is clearly inferior to their opponents, but they chase after them and kill them. It's as if their cultivation has reached a level where they can crush their opponents. Sometimes, if you think you can do it, then you can really do it. If you don't have the courage, what you can do, you might not be able to do it," Night Sorrow said. The Heavenly Concubine nodded. She knew this was faith. If one's faith was firm, then there would be motivation to move forward. Poor, really poor. When cleaning up the battlefield, the Golden Dragon King was very dissatisfied. The Ancient World group is lacking in resources. Their high cultivation level is completely dependent on absorbing the spiritual energy of heaven and earth to cultivate. There are almost no supplementary resources. Even if there are, they have to be plundered from other worlds, Night Sorrow said. Without resources, they can only rely on absorbing the spiritual energy of heaven and earth to cultivate. Plus, the spiritual energy here is not dense. Their achievements are dependent on a large amount of time, the Heavenly Astral King said. This is also the reason why they are running around everywhere. It's to find worlds to plunder. The thought of growing by plundering is already in their bones. The Heavenly Concubine looked at Night Sorrow and said. While everyone was reorganizing, Night Sorrow stood outside the camp and thought. After thinking for a while, Night Sorrow was once again certain that the Celestial Realm's 100 races and the Ancient World group's cultivators could not coexist. There was no possibility of that at all. When the Ancient World group's cultivators appeared, they had no intention of plundering. They directly started killing. If their goal was to plunder, then it could be said that it was a problem of quality. However, they came out to kill directly. This was a problem of nature. Night Sorrow communicated his thoughts to the Heavenly Concubine and Lin Piaomiao. Their thoughts were the same as Night Sorrow's. This is a habit. It's a habit of the past that has fixed their way of life. This is something that cannot be changed. Don't think about it, the Heavenly Concubine said. I understand too. However, we don't know how many ancient worlds this Ancient World group contains. How many supreme worlds were formed after the destruction of the Ancient World group? We didn't find out the foundation. Night Sorrow shook his head. Let's take it slow. They have other organizations and other forms of alliances. We won't be in danger and it won't be difficult to clean them up, Lin Piaomiao said. The situation isn't as simple as we think. The cultivators we encountered were all small groups in the form of tribes and small factions. On the other hand, it's not impossible for there to be large sects and cities. Night Sorrow expressed his worries. Chapter 2263. Hearing Night Sorrow's words, the heavenly concubine and Lin Piaomiao's expressions changed. If what Night Sorrow said really happened, they would be in big trouble and they would not be able to win. The cultivators of the ancient world group were different from the 100 races of the celestial realm. The situation of the cultivators of the ancient world group was small. There were many middle-level cultivators. If the 100 races of the celestial realm fought as a group, they would not be a match for the ancient world group. The heavenly concubine could defeat a soul-uniting realm cultivator and even kill him if she teamed up with Night Sorrow. But what if 2 soul-uniting realm cultivators appeared? The situation would take a turn for the worse. Then what should we do? Lin Piaomiao was a little worried. If they really appear, then we'll have to think about it carefully. Night Sorrow shook his head and returned to the camp. At the same time, he told the scouts to be extremely careful. Divine Capital, Humanitarian League Headquarters. Zhu Jiyun was wearing a battle suit and sitting opposite Jun Xuanji. Zhu Jiyun was bidding farewell to Jun Xuanji. Translator. Atlas Studios Editor. Atlas Studios, that's right. The 9 Regions World Group has already gone to war. You can't stay here forever. She once said that if he was the best commander, then I would be the best strategist. But now that there's a war, she won't inform me, Jun Xuanji said after drinking a mouthful of wine. Xuanji, you're a smart person. Haven't you thought about some problems? Since you don't want to think about it, then I'll say it for you. Night Sorrow respects his wives very much. They have a great relationship. When you forced yourself on him, he would feel that it was a betrayal to his family and his wives. How could he not feel disgusted? That was also a scheme. You used your friend's feelings to scheme. Isn't that a betrayal? Zhu Jiyun looked at the depressed Jun Xuanji and said, Betrayal? Continue. Jun Xuanji looked at Zhu Jiyun and gradually sat up straight. We brothers and sisters from the 9 Regions world have always respected each other. Who has schemed against each other? You're the first one. You're smart and capable? If you're capable, then continue to fall. Zhu Jiyun swept the wine jar in front of Jun Xuanji to the ground. Jun Xuanji lowered his head and did not say anything. If it were you and you slept with a man without feelings, how would you feel? You'll go crazy, you'll kill people, and you'll even commit suicide. Don't tell me there's a difference between men and women. The truth is the truth. She came to look for you after the incident, but you acted as if it didn't matter. Your attitude was that you only slept with her once, that's all. What's the point of complaining now? Zhu Jiyun was a little agitated. She slammed the table because she knew that Jun Xuanji had made a terrible mistake. But I'm a member of the 9 Domains world. How can you not inform me when there's a battle? Jun Xuanji stood up. If you don't participate in the war, do you want others to beg you? Don't you know how busy Yishang is and how many things he has to deal with? Jun Xuanji, when did you start to change? Zhu Jiyun shook his head. Let me calm down first. Jun Xuanji sat down again. Zhu Jiyun's words were like a bolt from the blue to him, overturning many of his beliefs. Zhu Jiyun also sat down. She did not want to say such harsh words to Jun Xuanji, but it had reached a point where she had to say it. Jun Xuanji did nothing but drink every day. He had completely lost his ideals and fighting spirit. Night Sorrow has never given up on any of his brothers and sisters. It's not his fault that there's a gap between you and him. From the moment you schemed against him, you violated the invisible oath of the 9 Domains world. You're wrong. Also, I'm not afraid of hurting your self-esteem. You can be the chief of the Humanitarian League and so can others. This is not your right to put on airs. You can't be arrogant. At the end, Zhu Jiyun sighed. There were some things that she did not want to say. She had been accompanying Jun Xuanji, hoping that he would understand some things on his own. Good scolding. Jiyun, what do you think I should do? Can we go back to how we were before? Jun Xuanji looked at Zhu Jiyun with a bitter smile. I don't know if we can go back to how we were before, but I know that Night Sorrow needs help now. So, I plan to go even if it's just a little bit of combat strength. I just want to tell him that no matter when, the people of the 9 Domains world are willing to fight with him. And he needs a strategist to help him deal with some things. Also, I need to apologize to you and him. I supported you in scheming against him back then. I did want the best for you, but things didn't go as I wished. It proved that I was wrong, Zhu Jiyun said. Don't go by yourself first. I'll think about it and see how to deal with it. You still chose to side with Night Sorrow. Jun Xuanji shook his head. I didn't choose to side with you. You were the one who wanted to leave the team of our 9 Domains world brothers and sisters. Now you should return to the team. Zhu Jiyun left after speaking. Today she risked damaging her relationship with Jun Xuanji, hoping that he would wake up. She knew that if Jun Xuanji did not participate in this external battle, then even if he wanted to participate in the future, he would not have a suitable position. That position was the best strategist beside Night Sorrow. In the ancient world, Night Sorrow and the others encountered their first obstacle. They encountered a large city. Night Sorrow helped Tianyu kill the scouts that were chasing after them. That was why the other party did not discover them. This was the first obstacle that Night Sorrow and the others encountered. Heavenly Concubine had sensed that there were 2 Divine Soul Unity Realm cultivators in the city. There were also a few 9 Emperor's Tribulation cultivators. Their high-end strength was comparable to that of the Celestial Realm. How do we play? After hearing Heavenly Concubine's words, the Golden Dragon King's face fell. Yeah. How do we play? Night Sorrow also had a headache. We can slowly think of a way to deal with this in the dark. Moreover, we must have a backup plan. Once we appear in the open, they will know that we are outsiders. They will definitely track us down and dig out the world we belong to, Heavenly Astral Monarch said. Night Sorrow nodded. This was the truth. If the cultivators in the ancient world discovered a cultivator with a strong life origin aura, they would definitely track him down. This would be a problem for the Celestial Realm. If the cultivators in the ancient world kept searching and looking for clues, it would only be a matter of time before they found the spatial tunnel. Let's retreat and set up camp before thinking of a solution. Night Sorrow waved his hand and gave the order. He did not dare to act rashly now. The consequences were too serious. When they reached the safe zone, Night Sorrow gave the order to set up camp. At the same time, he let everyone feel Heavenly Concubine's soul power. In a dangerous situation, no one could resist the pull of Heavenly Concubine's soul power. With Heavenly Concubine, who was in the Divine Soul Unity realm, leading everyone to retreat, it was absolutely safe. In the command tent, Night Sorrow paced back and forth as he pondered. However, he realized that this was a dead end. The other party had 2 Divine Soul Unity realm experts. Sneak attacks, luring, and other strategies were not easy to execute. If he and Heavenly Concubine did not work together, Heavenly Concubine would not be able to kill an opponent of the same level. It should be very difficult to do so. Moreover, it was hard to say how strong the other party was. Chapter 2264. Translator. Exodus Tales Editor. Exodus Tales without a solution. Night Sorrow was worried. He wasn't afraid of any risks, but this wasn't his problem alone. He had to be responsible for his brothers and sisters, as well as the Celestial Realm's 100 races and the 9-domain world. So he didn't dare to make any rash decisions. While Night Sorrow was thinking, Lin Piaomiao entered Night Sorrow's tent. Sister Xian'er, you're here. Night Sorrow nodded at Lin Piaomiao and held her hand as the two sat down. No matter what difficulties they faced, Night Sorrow could feel the warmth and care of his family. What are you worried about? Take it slow. Also, I came to tell you that Jun Xuanji and Zhu Jiyun are here. They're at the entrance of the spatial passage. They're here to participate in the battle. They don't want to be absent from the 9-domain world's battle, Lin Piaomiao said. Jun Xuanji is here. Bring her to 9-domain city to see my 9-domain clone. I have some things to discuss with her. Night Sorrow nodded at Lin Piaomiao. Now that Jun Xuanji was here, he was quite happy. No matter what happened in the past, Night Sorrow didn't want Jun Xuanji to get further away from him and the God-slaying team. Also, he wanted to talk to Jun Xuanji because he would be spending time with the Heavenly Concubine. Night Sorrow also had to talk to the Heavenly Concubine. Following Night Sorrow's instructions, Lin Piaomiao's original body brought Jun Xuanji to the 9-domain world. Night Sorrow called the Heavenly Concubine into the tent. Why did you call me here? After entering the tent, the Heavenly Concubine poured herself a cup of water from a teapot. There is something. I want to know what you think of Jun Xuanji. Don't hide anything. Just tell me, Night Sorrow said after inviting the Heavenly Concubine to sit. Why are you asking this? Actually, it's nothing much. I've severed the karma of the past. She's her and I'm me. Although it's despicable that she's been trying to turn the tables and suppress me, considering that you're in a difficult position, I won't say anything, said Heavenly Concubine. Phew. How magnanimous. She's still young, so don't hold it against her. I apologize on her behalf for what happened in the past. Night Sorrow cupped his hands towards the Heavenly Concubine. What are you doing? I won't make things difficult for her as long as she doesn't find trouble with me. The Heavenly Concubine smiled and said. After severing the karma, she no longer cared about the past. She knew that if she did, it would only make things difficult for Night Sorrow. Lin Piamiao returned after sending Jun Xuanji to the Nine Domains world. Night Sorrow's Nine Domains clone brought Jun Xuanji into the Heaven-Sealing Great Hall. It's been a long time since we last met. How have you been? Night Sorrow asked Jun Xuanji to sit down. Still the same. However, you're too much. Why didn't you inform me when there was a battle? Jun Xuanji said. I know that you're not busy and would come if you had time. Aren't you here now? Night Sorrow said with a smile. Night Sorrow, it's my fault that we've grown distant. However, you can't treat me coldly. Jun Xuanji returned to the main topic. How could that be? I've been too busy and couldn't care about anything else. Are you prepared to fight now? Night Sorrow said. Of course I'm prepared. Don't you lack a strategist? Jun Xuanji asked Night Sorrow. I do. Recently I've been having a headache. However, there are some things that I need to talk to you about. It's about the Heavenly Concubine. Night Sorrow looked at Jun Xuanji and told him the main reason why he had called Jun Xuanji over. I know about the Heavenly Concubine. She's the guardian of the Nine Domains world. She's fought for the Nine Domains world several times and solved many problems. Her status is very high. In terms of status, other than you, the Realm Lord, no one else can compare to her. If you respect her, then I naturally can't look at her differently. I don't have the qualifications to do so. Jun Xuanji actually knew why Night Sorrow had called her over. She also knew that this was one of the reasons why Night Sorrow hadn't called her back to the team. Don't think too much. I've also talked to her. There's no problem. If you feel that it's awkward to communicate with her, then don't interact with her. Don't create unnecessary trouble. Night Sorrow said. Okay, I'll do that. Also, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have played tricks and trampled on your dignity, Jun Xuanji said. Zhu Jiyun's words made her understand some things. Everyone had their own dignity and pride. Her actions last time weren't appropriate. She lacked respect for Night Sorrow. Let's not talk about this anymore. Go to the spatial passageway and have someone send you to the ancient world to meet up with us. There are some things that I need to discuss with someone. Be careful on the way. Night Sorrow said and sent Jun Xuanji out of the Heaven-Sealing Great Hall. Be careful. After leaving the Heaven-Sealing Great Hall, Jun Xuanji's mind was still filled with these words. She understood that there were still some feelings between them. Looking up at the blue sky, Jun Xuanji smiled. It's over. Some of the unhappiness is over. Night Sorrow's heart also became clearer. Jun Xuanji's problem was also a sore point. Now that it was over, Jun Xuanji had only played a little trick. There wasn't any fundamental problem. As for that matter, Night Sorrow knew that Jun Xuanji didn't want him to take responsibility. It was just a small disturbance in his life. In the ancient world, the Heavenly Concubine looked at Night Sorrow, who had been silent for a while, and asked, Are you done? Well, she's quite reasonable. If there's anything that you feel is inappropriate, just tell me. As for the awkwardness, it's unavoidable. Night Sorrow nodded. There's nothing to be embarrassed about. After severing the karma, she's just herself. There's nothing between us. No one can look at me with special eyes. She won't either. The Heavenly Concubine smiled. Looking down on others required strength and ability. She, the Heavenly Concubine, could only look down on others. No one else could do that. After Jun Xuanji arrived, Night Sorrow gathered the leaders of the team for a meeting. Who has an idea? Take it out and let everyone think about it. We'll use whichever idea can stand up to scrutiny. If not, we'll think about it again. When we think of a strategy that can stand up to scrutiny, we'll talk about it again. Night Sorrow looked at the people in the tent and said, Night Sorrow, if we launch a sneak attack according to your previous sneak attack tactics, is it possible to directly kill an expert? Jun Xuanji asked. It's impossible. Even if a Divine Soul Unity Realm cultivator doesn't defend, they can't be killed in a short period of time. Their bodies and souls are on a different level. Their survivability is extremely strong. Night Sorrow waved his hand. Jun Xuanji had some high-level cultivator memories, but it was only before the 7th Emperor Tribulation. The Heavenly Concubine's later breakthroughs and understanding of high-level cultivators were things that she didn't have. If a sneak attack doesn't work, what else can we do? The Blood-Curing King shook his head. Night Sorrow, you have the Poison Spirit's Poison Pearl. If you use the Poison Pearl to launch a sneak attack, you still have a chance. However, is this method suitable? The Heavenly Concubine asked. Chapter 2265. This is a little unscrupulous, Heavenly Astral Monarch muttered. Senior Heavenly Astral Monarch, I don't think so. War is only about victory and defeat. If we lose, the 100 races in the celestial realm will be in a terrible situation. The people of the 9 regions world have a way out, but the 100 races in the celestial realm don't, Jun Xuanji said. Xuanji, don't say that. We are now on the same side. Night Sorrow waved his hand and stopped Jun Xuanji. It wasn't appropriate to be too aggressive at this time. War is only about victory and defeat. Heavenly Astral Monarch, we can't stick to the rules now. The cultivators of the ancient world are not polite to us. They will kill us directly when they see us, the Golden Dragon King said. This is a backup plan. Think of something else, Night Sorrow said. He wouldn't use this method unless he had no other choice. Next, Heavenly Concubine suggested a formation battle. They would set up a large array and use the trap and kill tactic. It's a big project to set up an array that can trap and affect Divine Soul Unity Realm cultivators. But with the combination of a bait tactic, the formation battle will be effective. I will arrange this immediately. Use all the effective tactics. Sister Xiener, arrange for an array master to come over, Night Sorrow said to Lin Piaomiao. Lin Piaomiao nodded. She was following the team because she represented the full cooperation of the elders. Okay, bring the array master of our Ice Phoenix race. Since we are going to play, let's play big. Heavenly Astral Monarch also expressed his support. The Golden Dragon King also nodded. The Golden Dragon race didn't have many people, but the Black Dragons and Azure Dragons were still very strong. After asking everyone to continue thinking, Night Sorrow left the tent to find a suitable place to set up a large array. The power of a top-grade array couldn't be ignored no matter what realm the cultivator was in. Why didn't the Demon Imperial City break? One reason was because the head of the Demon Winged race's ancestor was overbearing. The other reason was that it complemented the array. Night Sorrow took out the top-grade materials. The base of the array used Monarch Spirit Stone, the important places used Emperor Spirit Stone, and the core directly used the crystal core of the Black Horned Dragon. Unparalleled Great Array. This time, Night Sorrow wanted to set up an unparalleled great array. Heavenly Concubine arrived by Night Sorrow's side. The other party has 2 God Soul Unity Realm experts. If this array can trap one of them for a period of time, the 2 of us can work together to kill the other. The scales of victory will tip towards our side. I used the highest grade materials I have, so it should work. From the bottom of my heart, I don't want to use poison. If I use poison without saying anything after entering their city, then I'll be no different from them. Self-preservation is just a pretentious reason, Night Sorrow said. You still have your own perseverance. The Heavenly Concubine nodded. Let's wait until the formation is set up. With the formation as our foundation, we can go and test the other party's attitude. If the other party is not aggressive and does not pursue us, then there is no need to continue this battle. If they pursue us relentlessly, then I'm sorry, Night Sorrow said. The Heavenly Concubine did not say anything. She knew that no matter how bad the situation was, Night Sorrow's bottom line was still there. He had his own considerations for some things and would not change because of external factors. Night Sorrow set up the array while the others cultivated and thought of ideas. The Heavenly Concubine and Jun Xuanji did not have much interaction and only nodded to each other when they met. When setting up the array, Night Sorrow thought about it carefully. He did not dare to make any mistakes. An array that could trap God Soul Unity Realm cultivators was not easy to set up. It was related to spacetime, life and death, void, destruction, and so on. It also involved support and cooperation. There could not be any conflicts. While setting up the array, Night Sorrow's array Dao cultivation increased again. Even the areas that were not smooth in his cultivation were resolved. Night Sorrow was not in a hurry to set up the array. However, he placed great importance on its scale and power. Time slipped away as Night Sorrow set up the array. On the other hand, the Heavenly Concubine Lin Piaomiao, the Golden Dragon King, the Heavenly Astral King, and Jun Xuanji were all studying the battle plan. 3 years. Night Sorrow led the array masters from the celestial realm to set up and perfect the array. They used a total of 3 years. My assets. 2/3 of my assets are in this array. Looking at the area where the array was, Night Sorrow felt a little emotional. Once it's used up, you can just dismantle it. The Heavenly Concubine said with a smile. That's true. Everyone and I used 3 years to set up this array. If we dismantle it, it will probably take less than 30 days. Night Sorrow nodded. Night Sorrow brought everyone back to the tent. How's the battle plan coming along? During these 3 years, Night Sorrow's main body was cultivating and his clone was studying the array. He did not really care about the battle plan or the arrangement of personnel. Lord Heavenly Concubine, you thought the most about the plan this time. You should tell the young city lord. The Golden Dragon King nodded at the Heavenly Concubine. This is everyone's idea. I can say a few words. Night Sorrow, there are some things that you don't want to do. We can't let you do it either. Our plan is to use peaceful means before using force. Let's see their attitude first. If they don't plan to fight, then your hard work will be in vain. The Heavenly Concubine said. Don't worry. If they don't fight, I'm willing to waste these 3 years. Night Sorrow smiled. He did not waste these 3 years at all. His main body had been cultivating all this time. In the 3 years in the real world, Night Sorrow's main body had cultivated for 150 years. His body's cultivation was not far from the peak of the 6th Emperor Tribulation. His realm had also improved a little, but it was not as obvious as his body's improvement. In addition, his 1,000 Realms defense body had also cultivated a world. He had reached the level where he could create a world with a thought. Faster attack. Of course, other than Night Sorrow himself, no one knew about these achievements because he had not fought in these 3 years. Let's talk about the plan. There are a few steps to the plan. The first step is to lure them in. We will talk to them first. If we can't negotiate, they will definitely fight. At that time, we will retreat and they will definitely chase. I specialize in speed, so we will lure them in. The 2 Divine Soul Unity Realm cultivators can't have the same speed. As long as their speeds are different, we will have an opportunity to use the array to attack them one by one. The Heavenly Concubine said. There is no problem with the general direction. Have you thought about the details? Night Sorrow turned to the group and asked. Yes, we have thought about it carefully. For every mistake there will be a plan to fix it. This is already written down. Jun Xuanji took out a book and handed it to Night Sorrow. After looking at it, Night Sorrow nodded. The plan is good. Everyone has worked hard. Prepare a banquet and reward the array masters. After that, send them back. They can't have any accidents. Okay. Lin Piaomiao nodded. After 3 years of preparation, it's finally time to test the results. Heavenly Concubine, I will have to trouble you this time. Night Sorrow looked at the Heavenly Concubine and said. This was because the Heavenly Concubine and him were the main people in the plan. Chapter 2266. Translator. Endless Fantasy Translation Editor. Endless Fantasy Translation. Okay, let's work together. There's nothing we can't do. I'll look into this plan. If there are no problems, we'll carry it out later, Night Sorrow decided. After returning to the tent, Night Sorrow studied the plan. The plan was very detailed. There were detailed records of luring and fighting. After looking at it, Night Sorrow felt that the plan was feasible. The Heavenly Concubine Jun Xuanji and Lin Piaomiao all knew his fighting style and specialty. The battle plan was very suitable for his style. How do you feel? The Heavenly Concubine entered Night Sorrow's tent. Very good. Actually, I feel that if the luring fails, there's no need to dodge. We can do it a second time. We can use killing to lure them, Night Sorrow said. Killing to lure them? The Heavenly Concubine was stunned. Yes, a combination of assassination and luring. After the 2 sides meet and negotiate, let's not talk about fighting. If we fight, the first time we lure them out, we'll follow the plan and use the formation to surround them. If we fail, it's not a bad thing. I'm good with space-time attributes and can sneak up on one of them. It'll be good if we can heavily injure the target, but if we can't, we'll retreat. Will they chase us? If they chase us, we'll lure them out. If they don't chase us, that's fine too. We'll just sneak up on them. This is much better than luring them out, Night Sorrow said as he closed the document. Hitting the nail on the head. This is the most important part of the plan, the Heavenly Concubine said. After that, Night Sorrow gathered the core of the team and told them the battle plan. Then they started the first step of the battle plan, Hidden Dragon. Hidden Dragon was to hide the team in the illusion formation of the unparalleled formation. This way, the people of the Ancient World group wouldn't be able to find them and would come out to fight when needed. After the team was hidden, Night Sorrow considered the issue of safety and set up a teleportation formation in the illusion formation. This meant that even if the unparalleled formation was surrounded, they could teleport out if they wanted to retreat. After setting up the teleportation formation, Night Sorrow brought the Golden Dragon King, Heavenly Astral King Lin Piaomiao, Long Jin, and Lin Chuan to familiarize themselves with the formation. This way they could control the formation even if he wasn't around. After the arrangements, Night Sorrow looked at everyone, When I'm not around, Elder Lin, Golden Dragon King, and Heavenly Astral King are in charge. Elder Lin, Golden Dragon, and Heavenly Astral King. The Golden Dragon King and Senior Heavenly Astral King. Is. Everyone bowed and accepted the order. Everyone knew that in Yi Chang's heart, war was war. The members of the team didn't care if they were close or distant. Even brothers had to follow orders without any objections. After translation is Lin, translation 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 is translation. Heavenly concubine, if you can't do it, you have to take me and run. Yi Shang handed the clear sky pagoda to the heavenly concubine as he spoke. The heavenly concubine took the clear sky pagoda and placed it in her robes. Don't worry, I won't leave you behind. Actually, whether or not we can coexist peacefully, we'll know as we get closer. If there's no possibility of negotiation, they'll directly attack. That is to say, if they come out to kill us, there is no possibility of peace. If we reach the city and they don't come to kill us, we can negotiate. Night Sorrow analyzed. It's like this. From their attitude we can infer their decision. Actually, the chances of negotiation are very low. We all know this, but we have to do this. Heavenly Concubine looked at Night Sorrow and said, yes, it's almost impossible. But we have to give the other party and ourselves a chance. We can't go too far. Night Sorrow nodded. They didn't plan to fight directly, nor did they use poison. It was all Night Sorrow's idea. He didn't want his subordinates to become invaders with no bottom line. He also didn't want his subordinates to develop such a habit. Because of safety considerations, the campsite Night Sorrow chose was still very far from the city. So, Heavenly Concubine and Night Sorrow traveled for a day and a half before reaching the other party's area. This distance was also suitable for luring them. Flying at full speed for half a day was just right. As they got closer, cultivators appeared one after another. Because Night Sorrow and Heavenly Concubine both hid their cultivation, the cultivators of the Ancient World group couldn't see through them. They didn't sense any danger and directly charged forward to kill. The result was inevitable. They're all a bunch of murderous bastards. They can't sense our cultivation, but they can sense that our life source is different. Refining our divine nascent pearls will increase their essence, so they definitely won't hold back. Heavenly Concubine said. Then there's no other way. We can only kill our way through. We'll talk when we get there. Night Sorrow shook his head. This situation was also within his expectations. The battle continued. Night Sorrow and Heavenly Concubine wanted to take a look around the city. They wanted to see what kind of attitude the ruler of this city had. When they were still some distance away from the city, a long howl was heard. Following that, two figures led a group of people and charged towards Night Sorrow. Sirs, can we have a chat? The Heavenly Concubine spoke when the other party was still in attack range, conveying her wish. Cultivators from different realms. Ah. This is a good thing. Flying not far from Heavenly Concubine and Night Sorrow, the middle-aged man in the lead laughed loudly. There's no need to kill on sight. We can talk about anything. Heavenly Concubine expressed her intention to talk again. Which realm are you from? Do you have a map? Hand over the map and you can become a member of our Fire King city. You're at the Divine Soul Unity realm and can become an elder. Forget about him. He's pretty good. He's a good resource. The man in the lead, the Fire King City Lord, said. You want the map? You want to kill and plunder our world? Do you think we'll hand it over? Heavenly Concubine's face turned cold. The Fire King City Lord didn't have the sincerity to talk. His goal was to kill and plunder. He didn't even give Night Sorrow a chance to live. This made her very angry. Not handing it over? The City Lord is giving you a chance to live. Don't you want it? In that case both of you will die. Another Divine Soul Unity Realm cultivator said. Giving me a chance to live? What shameless boasting. Who do you think you are? Heavenly Concubine laughed when she saw that there was no possibility of negotiation. The other party was too arrogant. I'm Fire King City's Vice City Lord, Geely. You're courting death. Geely was furious. He held his weapon in his hand and looked at the Fire King City Lord at the same time. The life origin aura on their bodies is very dense. You and I will take one each. The Fire King City Lord spoke. Heavenly Concubine, let's go. Seeing that there was no possibility of negotiation, Night Sorrow nodded at Heavenly Concubine. Since we can't talk, then forget it. Heavenly Concubine smiled and pulled Night Sorrow, who was beside her. She then retreated and kept Night Sorrow into the clear sky pagoda. Chapter 2267. Kill. With a long roar, the Fire King City Lord and Extreme Liao led their men to chase after the heavenly concubine. The Fire King City Lord and Extreme Liao were divine soul uniting realm cultivators of the tribulation of the 9 emperors. They had 3 subordinates of the same level behind them. With the Fire King City Lord's order, they all moved. They were very excited. The heavenly concubine and Night Sorrow represented fat meat. A new realm had appeared and could provide a lot of resources. It would not be a problem for them to cultivate to the divine soul uniting realm. The heavenly concubine was good at speed. Her body flashed, leaving the Fire King City Lord and Extreme Liao behind. Normally, the City Lord is the strongest, but Extreme Liao's speed is faster than the Fire King City Lord's. The heavenly concubine flew while communicating with Night Sorrow in the clear sky pagoda. The City Lord's combat power should be the strongest. Extreme Liao is faster than the Fire King City Lord, but his combat power is definitely weaker. Let's lure him and play slowly. Be careful to keep a safe distance. Night Sorrow reminded the heavenly concubine because the Fire King City Lord and Extreme Liao had attacked. Sabers flew towards the heavenly concubine. The heavenly concubine flew in a curve and dodged the sabers. Then she used her precept domain to increase her speed. Their speed is really fast. Their attack power is also high. The heavenly concubine made a preliminary evaluation of the Fire King City Lord's Extreme Liao. The ancient world's cultivators have a long history. They have more combat techniques and absolute arts than us, so their combat power is stronger. Let's increase the distance and let them use their highest speed, Night Sorrow said. The heavenly concubine replied to Night Sorrow and increased her speed again. She was from the Demon Wing clan. The members of the Demon Wing clan had strong bodies and a pair of flesh wings. They were best at speed. The heavenly concubine did not usually use her wings, but they had always been there and had been turned into energy. At that moment, a pair of transparent wings appeared on her back, causing her speed to increase again. Don't worry. I'm not afraid of them in terms of speed. The heavenly concubine communicated with Night Sorrow. She knew that Night Sorrow was very nervous and worried about her safety. Your wings are really beautiful. Night Sorrow sighed. The heavenly concubine's wings were different from the flesh wings of the other Demon Wing clan members. They did not look ugly. Instead, they were full of beauty and holy aura. Of course, these are the Holy Spirit wings. Heavenly concubine explained to Night Sorrow. She then told him about the Holy Spirit wings situation. Even though the situation was dire, heavenly concubine was still in control. She knew that the other party would not be able to catch up. The 3 grand heavens of the Demon Wing clan had the qualifications to collect the power of faith. With the power of faith, the 3 of them had different uses. Mo Zhanqian used the power of faith to enhance his soul, Mo Yuqian used it to strengthen his body, and Mo Qinji used it to cultivate the Saint Spirit wings. The Saint Spirit wings was the Demon Wing clan's lost art. In history, only 2 people had successfully cultivated it. Mo Qinji was the 3rd. The wings of the Devil Wing clan members were all black. However, after cultivating the Holy Spirit wings, the heavenly concubine's wings turned white. In the end, they became half transparent and half jade-like. Furthermore, they were covered in white energy feathers. That's amazing. I didn't notice it before, Night Sorrow said with a smile. It's not that you didn't notice it. My Holy Spirit wings have always been hidden in my original body. When we fought, I wasn't my original body. I didn't have this ability. After I merged with my original body, I didn't use my full speed. Heavenly concubine explained the situation. During the conversation, the distance between the heavenly concubine and her pursuers grew wider. The one closest to her was Ji Liao, followed by the Fire King City Master, and then the other tribulation of 9 emperors cultivators. Ji Liao, speed up and stop them. As long as we can stop them, they are dead for sure. This is also related to our future. With resources comes opportunities. Fire King City Master shouted at Ji Liao. He was not as fast as the heavenly concubine and was slowly being shaken off. He was a bit anxious because the appearance of the heavenly concubine and Night Sorrow was an opportunity for him. Ji Liao sped up again. His relationship with the Fire King City Master was not good, but their goal was the same. They wanted to kill the heavenly concubine, capture Night Sorrow, and find out where Night Sorrow and the heavenly concubine came from. That idiot sped up. I'll kill him later. He's just a frog in a well. What a shameless boaster, the heavenly concubine cursed. She was very disgusted by Ji Liao. Okay. Can you fake burning your essence blood and find a suitable explanation for your speed? This way they won't give up and will chase with all their might. It will be easier to pull apart the distance. As long as we can lure Ji Liao out of the Fire King City Master's detection range, we will have more methods to use, Night Sorrow said to the Heavenly Concubine. Give me some of the Black Horn Dragon's essence blood. I'll activate it outside my body and show them some blood chi, the Heavenly Concubine said to Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow took out a bottle of Black Horn Dragon's essence blood and gave it to the Heavenly Concubine. He had a lot of Black Horn Dragon's essence blood. Last time, when the Black Horn Dragon died, it returned to its original body. Its body was like a mountain and contained a lot of essence blood. M6. As the Heavenly Concubine activated the Black Horn Dragon's essence blood, a hazy blood chi appeared on the surface of her body and in her precept domain. Burning essence blood. You missed the chance to submit to the Fire King City. You must die today. Star steps. Ji Liao roared and increased his speed again. This movement technique is very powerful. His speed is about the same as mine. The Heavenly Concubine's expression changed slightly. The Fire King City Master was the most shocked. He did not know that Ji Liao's movement technique had reached such a level, which meant that Ji Liao was hiding something from him. Don't worry. His speed is about the same as yours. It'll be easy to pull away from the people behind. This is what we need. Be careful. Night Sorrow was worried about the Heavenly Concubine, but he knew that things would go smoothly. Ji Liao was going into the trap that they had planned to break one by one. B** starred. He thinks that I've burned my essence blood and my condition has deteriorated. That's why he's willing to expose his trump card to chase us. The Heavenly Concubine cursed. If she had really burned her essence blood and Ji Liao's speed was so fast, it would be very troublesome. Don't be angry. Later we'll kill him to vent your anger, Night Sorrow said. Okay. My ability to trick people is not bad, right? Ji Liao is getting more and more impatient. When we leave the Fire King City Master's detection range later, I'll continue to pretend that I've burned my essence blood and become powerless. He'll definitely chase us, the Heavenly Concubine said. Night Sorrow nodded. Ji Liao and the others were indeed strong, but their intelligence was worrying. In addition, the Heavenly Concubine's acting was very good. It was very realistic. Divine Soul Unity Realm cultivators flew at full speed. Their speed was extremely fast. After an hour, the Fire King City Master and the others had completely disappeared from the Heavenly Concubine and Ji Liao's detection range. This meant that the Heavenly Concubine and Ji Liao had also left the Fire King City Master's detection range. You idiot. If you have the ability, then continue to chase us. Burn more. The Heavenly Concubine's body drew an arc and changed direction. She then took the Black Horn Dragon essence blood that Night Sorrow passed to her and made the illusion of burning essence blood even bigger. Chapter 2268. He's dead for sure. Let's kill him. How about we sneak attack the Fire King City Lord? Heavenly Concubine was very excited to see Ji Yen following the plan. Okay, let's kill one and we won't be passive anymore. Heavenly Concubine, you're very good at lying. Night Sorrow said. Heavenly Concubine's performance surprised him. Update. Ditch latest /% soon 6. Go. You're very good at lying. You've never lied to anyone before. It seems like you're really talented in this area. Also, don't you know that women are very good at lying? Heavenly Concubine's words had a hint of a smile, but her face was very serious as she flew. That was for Ji Yen to see. Ji Jiao saw the Heavenly Concubine's body shine with a bloody light. He maintained his speed and chased after her. He even felt that it was a good thing that he had escaped the Fire King City Leader's detection range. If this went well, he would not need to return to the Fire King City Leader's face. The Fire King City Lord realized that Heavenly Concubine and Ji Yen had disappeared from his detection range and became anxious. He was worried that Heavenly Concubine would run away and get nothing. He was also worried that Ji Yen would take all the benefits for himself. With this worry, the Fire King City Lord could only chase in a straight line. Heavenly Concubine maintained her speed at the same level as Ji Yen, who was using a movement technique. She charged towards the unparalleled formation. How long can we trick him like this? Night Sorrow was a bit worried. He was worried that Ji Yen would realize something was wrong before they reached the unparalleled formation. After all, burning essence blood for a long time would make people suspicious. We'll trick him for as long as we can. If we can't trick him, we can't kill him? Heavenly Concubine's words were full of confidence. Night Sorrow nodded. He knew that this was the truth. He and Heavenly Concubine could fight Ji Yen now, but they were worried about Ji Yan's speed. If he was determined to run, it would be troublesome. After running for a while, Heavenly Concubine reduced the amount of essence blood she used. At the same time, she slowed down because burning essence blood for a long time was very fake. As Heavenly Concubine slowed down, Ji Yan caught up and began to attack. Heavenly Concubine's Holy Spirit wings flapped as she dodged left and right. Heavenly Concubine, be careful. This is dancing on the edge of a knife. Night Sorrow was a bit worried. I'm fine. I have a plan. I'll play with him today. I definitely won't let him run away. The Heavenly Concubine's voice rang out within the vast heaven pagoda. Heavenly Concubine's speed was about the same as Jiho's when he used his ultimate movement skill. When Jiho attacked, his speed would decrease slightly. Heavenly Concubine's movement skill was fast, so dodging wasn't a problem. This became a normal battle between high-level cultivators. There were advantages and disadvantages, but suppressing and killing them was difficult. Of course, the current situation was controlled by the Heavenly Concubine. She wanted to make sure that Extreme Raven did not give up. Didn't I act beautifully? This is a fool who doesn't know the difference between life and death. He'll pay for his arrogance later. Heavenly Concubine chatted with Night Sorrow while fighting against Extreme Roar. She didn't feel any pressure. Soon. I've already scouted this area. According to our current speed, we're only half an hour away from our peerless great formation. Night Sorrow said to Heavenly Concubine after using his soul power to scan the situation outside. Soon? Let's avoid unnecessary trouble. Watch me. At this time, Heavenly Concubine, who was flying, shouted. Red blood appeared around her waist area. Then, her body glowed red again as she sped up. What's going on? Night Sorrow's face was full of shock. It's fake. When his blade arrived, I spun around and dodged the attack. At that time, I used my precept domain to completely isolate him. He didn't know that my injury was fake. That red color was the blood of the black dragon. Heavenly Concubine sped up as she communicated with Night Sorrow. You're trying to trick people to death. Night Sorrow sighed. Heavenly Concubine's acting was too good. There was no way that Extreme Raven wouldn't chase after her. Yes, I'm trying to trick people to death. But this feeling is very exciting. I've never tried it before. Heavenly Concubine's face was very serious, but her soul and Night Sorrow's conversation was full of excitement. The chase continued. According to Extreme Raven's subjective analysis, Heavenly Concubine was injured and burned a large amount of blood essence. Her combat power had plummeted. Burning blood essence wouldn't last for long. Heavenly Concubine kept releasing the black dragon's blood essence. Then she burned her true chi, causing the blood-colored smoke to fill the outside of her body and precept domain. Then she flapped her Holy Spirit wings to increase her speed. The 1-hour journey was soon over. Night Sorrow's peerless formation was right in front of them. It was hidden in the illusion formation. Night Sorrow's main body and doppelganger stood in the clear sky pagoda. The Samsara halberd and blood Qilin evil-slaying spear were in his hands. Heavenly Concubine fell into the peerless formation in a perfect arc. Extreme Raven, who was right behind her, also entered the peerless formation. After entering the peerless formation, Extreme Raven was dumbfounded. Heavenly Concubine was gone, and the surroundings were filled with violent energy of heaven and earth. Spacetime energy blades, limitless vortex, death wave, nihility melting, and other attacks all appeared. He had been ambushed. If Extreme Raven didn't know he had been ambushed, then he was an idiot. Night Sorrow and Heavenly Concubine stood side by side in the formation. They watched as Extreme Raven was attacked by the formation's energy. Heavenly Concubine, do you still remember how to walk in the formation? Night Sorrow asked Heavenly Concubine. I remember everything you told me. Also, this isn't the first time I've experienced this peerless formation. Don't worry, I can fight on my own. This bastard chased me all the way here. Does he think I'm afraid of him? Kill him. Heavenly Concubine's body flashed. She approached Extreme Raven and used her Compassion Life Sword Chi. Night Sorrow also attacked. His main body and doppelganger used Primordial Destruction / and Reincarnation True Dragon Art to kill Extreme Raven. Despicable and shameless person. Extreme Claw blocked the Heavenly Concubine's Compassion Life Sword Chi and dodged the Reincarnation True Dragon Art. However, he was hit by Night Sorrow's Primordial Destruction / Although he wasn't heavily injured, his chi and blood were unstable and his true chi couldn't flow smoothly. This was only the beginning. Heavenly Concubine and Night Sorrow's doppelganger started attacking Extreme Raven. They had to hurry up and get rid of Extreme Raven first. After a few rounds, Extreme Raven was hit by Heavenly Concubine's Compassion Life Sword Chi. At the same time, he noticed that Heavenly Concubine's white dress was as clean as new. There was no blood or damage. He immediately understood everything. After entering the Peerless formation, Heavenly Concubine's dress contained energy and shook off the Black Dragon's essence blood. You didn't burn your essence blood? Noticing Heavenly Concubine's red face and blood energy, Extreme Raven asked. Do I need to burn my essence blood to compete with you in speed? I'm just tricking an idiot like you. Didn't you chase me with all your might? Do you really think you're that strong? Take this. Heavenly Concubine replied to Extreme Raven and continued attacking. Chapter 2269. Don't think that you are innocent. We went to negotiate but you wanted to fight. From the moment you chased us, we were on opposing sides. If you die in battle you can only say that you are inferior. Night Sorrow's reincarnation Heavenly Halberd appeared from the void and struck Ji Jiao's shoulder, who couldn't dodge in time. Ji Jiao's shoulder blade was shattered, and the primordial energy also entered Ji Jiao's body to destroy it. Winning with numbers and relying on the assistance of a formation, you won with an unfair advantage. Jiyan roared. F***ck your ancestors, can you still be shameless? It was your group that chased us first and wanted to besiege us first, okay? Now you mention this, go die. Hearing Ji Jiao's words, the Heavenly Concubine was very angry and began to curse. She couldn't stand Ji Jiao's shamelessness. Well scolded, true temperament, haha. Night Sorrow laughed but he didn't stop attacking Ji Jiao. Night Sorrow knew that the Heavenly Concubine had changed. She became very casual and had flesh and blood like an ordinary person. She was completely different from the Mo Tianji of the Devil-Winged clan during the Three Grand Heavens. Night Sorrow and the Heavenly Concubine were in high spirits as they continued to injure Ji Jiao. Ji Jiao's condition was getting worse and worse. This opponent is dead for sure. We can't see his cultivation, so we don't know if he is in the 9th Emperor Tribulation or Divine Soul Unity realm. The Golden Dragon King, who was watching from inside the array, said. He was in the 5th Emperor Tribulation so he could see the cultivation of the 8th Emperor Tribulation. Naturally, he couldn't see the cultivation of the 9th Emperor Tribulation. If it is one of the two Divine Soul Unity realm experts, then the situation can be turned around. They can deal with a single expert, but I'm afraid if they fight together, we won't be able to resist their attack and damage. The Heavenly Astral King nodded and sighed. He didn't know when it started, but he couldn't participate in high-level battles anymore. 2 hours later, Night Sorrow and the Heavenly Concubine killed Ji Jiao without any injuries. Ji Jiao was very poor in cultivation resources, but he was very rich in refining resources. This was the common problem of the ancient world's cultivators. They didn't have enough cultivation resources, but they collected refining materials over the years so they still had a lot of surplus. After killing Extreme Ho, Night Sorrow and Heavenly Concubine entered the Clear Sky Pagoda's time-accelerated layer to recover. They needed to recover to their peak state as soon as possible. The Heavenly Concubine and Night Sorrow only used 2 hours of real time to recover under the effects of 50 times time acceleration and the use of resources. The two of them gathered with the others because they were going to discuss the next battle deployment. Now, the two of you have two choices. One is to go back and look for the Fire King City Lord and see if you can continue to use the bait tactic. The other is to go directly to the Fire King City and clean up their high-level cultivators, Jun Xuanji said. Go to Fire King City? Let's go and find the Fire King City Lord. Whether we can meet him or not is another matter. After all, we are flying at high speed. We don't even know where he went. Besides, the Fire King City Lord saw that Jiho was chasing after us. He will be more or less alert. Faced with this choice, we might not gain anything. Let's give up and go to the Fire King City. That way we will be able to maximize our gains. After listening to Jun Xuanji's suggestion, Night Sorrow made his decision. If there are no more high-level cultivators in the Fire King City, can Heavenly Astral King and I follow? This way we can also increase our gains slightly, the Golden Dragon King said. Sure. Sister Shenair, you will guard the unparalleled Great Array. If anything happens, just crush my communication crystal. Golden Dragon King, Heavenly Astral King, the two of you will have to enter my Clear Sky Pagoda. Without any hesitation, Night Sorrow made his decision. The Golden Dragon King and Heavenly Astral King nodded and allowed Night Sorrow to take them into the Clear Sky Pagoda. They knew that they just had to act according to Night Sorrow's plan. In order to race against time, after exiting the Great Array, Night Sorrow handed the Clear Sky Pagoda to Heavenly Concubine. He also entered the Clear Sky Pagoda in a flash, allowing Heavenly Concubine to travel as fast as she could. Heavenly Concubine, we made a mistake. If we set up a teleportation array in the dark near the Fire King city, we wouldn't have wasted so much time. Night Sorrow, who was waiting in the Clear Sky Pagoda, found a mistake. That is indeed the case, but it doesn't matter. After we go over this time, we can set it up in time. This back and forth luring and assassinating will require a lot of running back and forth. Heavenly Concubine's thoughts were the same as Night Sorrow's. She also felt that this teleportation array was very necessary. With Heavenly Concubine flying at full speed, it took them a while to reach the vicinity of the Fire King city. Heavenly Concubine went to investigate the situation, and Night Sorrow quickly set up an illusion array. Night Sorrow set up a teleportation array in the illusion array and connected it to the teleportation array in the unparalleled Great Array. Night Sorrow wasn't afraid of any problems, because once the illusion array was broken, the teleportation array would explode, and no one would be able to kill their way through the teleportation array into the unparalleled Great Array. Night Sorrow set up the array and waited for Heavenly Concubine to investigate the situation. Not long after Heavenly Concubine returned, the highest cultivation in the city is an 8 Emperor Tribulation cultivator. The rest are lower, we can kill them all. It seems like the Fire King City Lord hasn't returned with a few 9 Emperor Tribulation cultivators under him. Then there's nothing to say. Let's clean up the middle and upper level cultivators. Seniors Golden Dragon King and Heavenly Astral King, please be careful. We have to deal with our opponents safely. Night Sorrow said to Golden Dragon King and Heavenly Astral King. Don't worry, young City Lord. We haven't lived long enough. Golden Dragon King said with a smile. Also, don't resist the soul power of Heavenly Concubine and mine. Let's go. Night Sorrow ordered. The group of 4 approached Fire King City. As they got closer, the cultivators in the city came out. They could feel that Night Sorrow and the other 3 were different. In their eyes, Night Sorrow and the other 3 were resources. They had to kill and obtain them even if they had to die. Brandishing the Samsara Heavenly Halberd in his hand, Night Sorrow controlled his doppelganger to appear and rush towards the cultivators in Fire King City. At this moment, Heavenly Concubine was already fighting with the strongest cultivator in Fire King City, an 8 Emperor Tribulation cultivator. Night Sorrow's original body and doppelganger were killing the 7 Emperor Tribulation and 6 Emperor Tribulation cultivators. The Golden Dragon King and Heavenly Astral King were attacking the 3 Emperor Tribulation and 4 Emperor Tribulation cultivators. Slaughter. It was a complete slaughter. When high-level cultivators attacked the Golden Dragon King and Heavenly Astral King, Night Sorrow would intercept them. The Samsara Heavenly Halberd and Blood Chelan Evil Slaying Spear would take their lives. At this moment they were pursuing efficiency. Heavenly Concubine, let's retreat. After 2 hours of bitter fighting, Night Sorrow felt that the Golden Dragon King and Heavenly Astral King had expended a lot of energy. He shouted to Heavenly Concubine. The Holy Spirit wings behind Heavenly Concubine flapped and drew 2 arcs. She kept Heavenly Astral King and the Golden Dragon King into the Clear Sky Pagoda. Finally, she picked up Night Sorrow and quickly flew out of Fire King City. After leaving a distance and shaking off the pursuers, Heavenly Concubine entered the illusion array area where the teleportation array was. 7/MOTT New, Chapter Y = Section 1Z, rest for a while. Shall we continue? Heavenly Concubine looked at Night Sorrow and asked. Chapter 2270. Hearing Night Sorrow's words, the Heavenly Concubine and the others nodded. She understood that Night Sorrow was worried about the safety of the Golden Dragon King and the Heavenly Astral King. The Golden Dragon King and the Heavenly Astral King didn't say anything. They knew that Night Sorrow had various considerations. If he didn't consider their safety, Night Sorrow and the Heavenly Concubine could still fight because the Fire King City Lord couldn't threaten their safety. Why and Unlag Golden Dragon King, Senior Heavenly Astral King, the 2 of you take the teleportation array back. Pay attention to the unparalleled array. There can't be any problems there. We still need the array to support the war, Night Sorrow said. After cupping his fists at Night Sorrow, the Golden Dragon King and the Heavenly Astral King left. There was no point in them staying here. Night Sorrow and the Heavenly Concubine entered the Clear Sky Pagoda's time acceleration level. Heavenly Concubine, let's recover quickly and then start killing, Night Sorrow said to the heavenly concubine. Start killing after recovering? The heavenly concubine was stunned. Yes, we'll go and kill again. If the Fire King City Lord comes back, we'll lure him out. If he chases us, we'll kill him. If he doesn't chase us, we won't lose anything. After Night Sorrow finished speaking, he ate a pill and held the monarch spirit stone in his hand to recover. The heavenly concubine smiled because Night Sorrow understood it better than her. She was still thinking about what to do if the Fire King City Lord came back. Subjectively, she was still thinking about the danger and unfeasibility. However, Night Sorrow's mind was clear. He saw the problem directly and was still carrying out the war according to the plan. After recovering for 2 hours, Night Sorrow and the heavenly concubine set off again and entered the Fire King City to kill. After killing for a while, the Fire King City Lord returned with 3 cultivators from the tribulation of the 9 emperors. They appeared in Night Sorrow and the heavenly concubine's detection range. Night Sorrow, they're in a bad state. Should we kill them? The heavenly concubine asked Night Sorrow after killing a cultivator from the tribulation of the 5 emperors. Kill. That Fire King City Lord is probably hard to kill. Don't worry about him, I'll help you pin him down. You kill the weakest one and then we'll run. Night Sorrow said to heavenly concubine. Be careful. If we can't handle it, we'll run. There's no need to fight to the death. The heavenly concubine nodded at Night Sorrow and headed out of the city. She charged towards the Fire King City Lord and the others. The 2 sides clashed. Night Sorrow's original body charged towards the Fire King City Lord. As he charged forward, a hazy energy appeared around his body. With a thought, a world was born. Night Sorrow used the Thousand Realms defensive body. Night Sorrow's main body rushed towards the Fire King City Lord while his avatar rushed towards another 9 Emperor Tribulation cultivator. He wanted to create a space for the heavenly concubine to kill her opponent. The battle was very intense. This was a high-end group battle. The heavenly concubine dodged an ancient cultivator's attack and started fighting against a 9 Emperor Tribulation cultivator. Night Sorrow had the Thousand Realms defensive body. He didn't care about ordinary attacks. He used soul attacks and spatial cracks to stop the Fire King City Lord and the strongest 9 Emperor Tribulation cultivator. The heavenly concubine relied on her speed to dodge an attack from a 9 Emperor Tribulation cultivator. She killed the weakest one. As the battle continued, the heavenly concubine's opponents kept getting hit. It was the extremely destructive Compassion Life Sword Chi. Night Sorrow and the heavenly concubine weren't much stronger than their opponents. In fact, their overall strength was inferior. However, their states were different. Night Sorrow and the heavenly concubine were at their peak while the Fire King City Lord and the others were exhausted. They had expended a lot of energy chasing after the heavenly concubine in extreme flame. After their soul crystals were crushed by their subordinates, the Fire King City Lord and the others didn't care about some reinforcements. They didn't have any time to recover. Heavenly concubine, be careful. Night Sorrow noticed the heavenly concubine's opponent was struggling desperately and reminded the heavenly concubine. He's dead for sure, the heavenly concubine replied to Night Sorrow. 2 strands of sword chi attacked the opponent's body again. You asked for it. Disintegrate. At this time, the heavenly concubine's target roared. His body instantly expanded and exploded. Then, a black soul rushed towards the heavenly concubine. The heavenly concubine's soul shook and blocked the black soul outside her head. However, she didn't force it back. At this time, the other ancient cultivator started attacking wildly. Because the heavenly concubine was using soul defense, her battle strength plummeted. Night Sorrow, leave. He's using a secret technique to possess you, the heavenly concubine shouted at Night Sorrow. Leave. How could Night Sorrow leave the heavenly concubine in danger? He couldn't and wouldn't do that. He would only think of a way to solve this problem. Break, explode. Night Sorrow roared. The doppelganger's left arm broke and flew towards the heavenly concubine. Then the doppelganger pounced on the main body and merged with the main body. After that, Night Sorrow used the spacetime realm and appeared in front of the heavenly concubine. Then he pushed the Thousand Worlds defense to the maximum to block the explosion of his left arm for himself and the heavenly concubine. The self-detonation power of a 9 Emperor's Tribulation cultivator was astonishing. The self-detonation power of one of Yishang's arms was equally astonishing. The power of qi and blood contained in one of his arms was not much weaker than that of a 9 Emperor's Tribulation cultivator. Following the explosion, the soul attack of the ancient cultivator was pushed back. However, Night Sorrow also spat out 2 mouthfuls of blood. He was pushed against the heavenly concubine's chest by the energy impact. He was also pushed back by the heavenly concubine. His sternum was shattered. In order to protect the heavenly concubine, he couldn't dodge at all. He could only take it head-on. Go! Night Sorrow's soul power exploded and absorbed most of the blood chi from the explosion of his left arm. Then he entered the clear sky pagoda. The heavenly concubine was still in shock. However, it didn't delay her actions. She grabbed the clear sky pagoda with her left hand and flashed away. The Fire King City Master and the others gave up after a short distance. They couldn't catch up with her the first time. Now that they were not in the same condition as the heavenly concubine, they couldn't even catch up. When they returned to the Fire King City, the Fire King City Master's expression was very ugly. Most of the Emperor Tribulation cultivators under his command were killed. There were almost no mid-level Emperor Tribulation cultivators left. He had been tricked. The Fire King City Master knew that he had been tricked and suffered a great loss. In a palace in the City Master's mansion, the soul crystals of a few high-level cultivators of the Fire King City were extinguished. Among them there was Jianghu's soul crystal. Activate the city protection formation. We'll defend first. The Fire King City Master ordered. The heavenly concubine brought Night Sorrow. After confirming that there were no pursuers, they entered the teleportation formation. At this time, Night Sorrow also appeared. Night Sorrow, how are you? The heavenly concubine looked at Night Sorrow worriedly. She knew that Night Sorrow had taken the brunt of the explosion to protect her. It's a little serious. Let's go back to the unparalleled formation first. Night Sorrow nodded. His current situation was not good. Fortunately, he had absorbed most of the blood chi from the explosion of his left arm. It would be easier for him to recover when he returned. Night Sorrow and the heavenly concubine returned to the unparalleled formation. Night Sorrow enlarged the clear sky pagoda and entered the time acceleration layer. Heavenly concubine, what happened to the young city master? The Golden Dragon King asked worriedly. Chapter 2271. The heavenly concubine told the Golden Dragon King Lin Piaomiao and the others about the situation. This isn't a small victory, but the price is too high, the heavenly astral king said. The others didn't say anything. Their hearts were heavy, and they didn't want anything to happen to Night Sorrow. In the clear sky pagoda's time-accelerated layer, Night Sorrow's main body and clone sat separately on the ground. His clone was wrapped in energy that hadn't dissipated yet. He used this energy to regenerate his broken limbs. His main body ate an elixir and took a monarch spirit stone to heal. The heavenly concubine stayed in her tent. After this battle, she had a deep feeling because Night Sorrow was sincere in saving her, even at the cost of his life. If it wasn't for Night Sorrow risking his life to save her, her soul would have been attacked, and her combat power would have decreased. She would have been in danger of dying in the encirclement. After thinking for a while, the heavenly concubine once again confirmed that living in the nine-domain world was the best choice. She asked herself, in the Demon Wing clan, Mo Zhantian and Mo Yutian could help her, but to the extent of risking their lives they couldn't do it. After a month, Night Sorrow came out of seclusion. Are you okay? The moment Night Sorrow came out, the heavenly concubine flashed to Night Sorrow's side. I'm fine. I was just beaten up because my skills weren't as good. It hurt a little. Night Sorrow smiled and brought the heavenly concubine into the command tent. After Night Sorrow came out of seclusion, the main members of the team entered the command tent. Have there been any movements during this time? Night Sorrow asked as he brewed tea. No, there haven't been any ancient cultivators in our region. Lin Piaomiao nodded to Night Sorrow. How's the spatial tunnel? Have there been any ancient cultivators in our 100 regions? Night Sorrow asked again. He was fighting at the front, so the defensive line behind was also very important. They did. Ancient cultivators appeared in a few districts near the periphery. However, they were exterminated. Lin Piaomiao gave Night Sorrow the answer. Night Sorrow nodded, feeling much more at ease. Following that, he analyzed the current situation of the Fire King City with everyone. According to the comparison of strength, both sides were not too far apart. We still can't fight them head-on. That'll only cause injuries. The best way is to rely on this formation to kill them, Jun Xuanji said. Xuanji, you're right. The array formation that took 3 years to complete must be put to good use. Night Sorrow looked at Jun Xuanji and nodded. After chatting for a while, the meeting adjourned. There were some things that Night Sorrow didn't tell everyone. He planned to launch a sneak attack, but he didn't need everyone to do so. This was a blow to everyone's morale. After the meeting adjourned, Yishang accompanied his wives who had come to participate in the battle and walked around the perimeter of the array. Lin Piaomiao followed the team and acted as a bridge. She communicated with the rear and made some necessary adjustments. Aoi Yang Lei, Sikong Chuyu, and Dechura were all in the god-slaying team. Shueshi was in Sky City dealing with family matters. Night Sorrow, you have to be careful. Everyone is worried about you. Fighting for the celestial realm and the 9 regions world is something you should do. However, you have to think about yourself and your family, Sikong Chuyu said. I'll be careful. I've made you all worry, Night Sorrow said apologetically. We're not blaming you. We just don't want anything to happen to you, Sikong Chuyu said to Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow nodded. He knew that his family was worried. After resting for 2 days, Night Sorrow called the heavenly concubine to his tent. Are we going to proceed to the next step of the plan? The heavenly concubine asked. Yes. We can't be stopped by the Fire King City. As long as we work together to heavily injure one, we can proceed to the final battle, Night Sorrow said. I've seen your sneak attacks in the past. You're good at the spatial element. Bring me along and we'll work together to heavily injure one. Even if we don't kill him, we just need to destroy his body and make him lose his ability to fight. The heavenly concubine nodded. She supported his decision. What was the soul attack after that guy self-destructed? Night Sorrow asked. That was a soul secret technique. It's used for possession. If his soul body enters the divine sea, it'll be troublesome. It'll be easy for his soul to be destroyed and his body to be possessed. It should be a soul secret technique inheritance, the heavenly concubine analyzed. She still had lingering fears. That situation was too dangerous. We can't be careless with the cultivators of the ancient world group. Their foundations are too deep. We don't even know some of their inherited secret techniques and ultimate techniques. One careless mistake could be fatal, Yishan said. After chatting for a while, Night Sorrow and the heavenly concubine decided to assassinate a 9 Emperor Tribulation cultivator under the Fire King City's city lord. Night Sorrow and the heavenly concubine were still a little afraid of the Fire King City's city lord because his battle strength was indeed strong. His only weakness was that his speed wasn't outstanding. After drinking a pot of tea, Night Sorrow and Lin Piaomiao talked to each other before leaving with the heavenly concubine. They took the teleportation array and arrived at the illusion array outside the Fire King City. Night Sorrow, if there's any more danger, don't save me like last time. Nothing can happen to you, the heavenly concubine said to Night Sorrow. Then something can happen to you? Let me ask you, if I'm in danger, will you save me? If you save me, then don't say anything else, Night Sorrow said. There are some things that I don't know as well as you do. But no matter what, you have to be careful. The heavenly concubine thought about it and nodded. If Night Sorrow was in that situation, she would also save him. Seeing the heavenly concubine nod, Night Sorrow smiled. He used a rhetorical question to dispel some of the thoughts that the heavenly concubine shouldn't have. It's good to have battles. After a few years, I can settle down and continue my closed-door training. Night Sorrow let out a breath and said. The heavenly concubine supported Night Sorrow's point of view. Improving and settling down went hand in hand. Night Sorrow's choice was right. Night Sorrow waved his arm and tore a hole in space. Night Sorrow's protective energy wrapped around the heavenly concubine and they entered the chaotic void stream. Be careful. Divine Soul Unity Realm cultivators are very sensitive to the fluctuations of heaven and earth energy. Will be easily discovered in the chaotic void stream, the heavenly concubine said to Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow nodded and used the Thousand Realms defense body to completely isolate himself from the heavenly concubine's aura. Then the two of them flew toward the Fire King City. At this moment, in Fire King City, the Fire King City governor and 2 Tribulation of 9 Emperors cultivators were thinking of countermeasures. The Tribulation of 9 Emperors cultivator who had self-destructed had taken over the body of a talented cultivator and was in seclusion. Positive N version R, C. Chapter 2272. We can't defend. Yes, they'll definitely attack. If they can kill Ji Jiao, they must have strength we don't know about. That divine soul uniting realm cultivator's speed is shocking and his movement technique is outstanding. That sword chi absolute art is especially powerful. That young Tribulation 6 Emperor's cultivator's combat power is also shocking. I can't kill him in a short time. The Fire King City Lord shook his head and sighed. He was the one who wanted to fight. Now that he was weaker, he felt defeated. The two Tribulation 9 Emperor's cultivators sitting below the Fire King City Lord didn't say anything. This was the truth. The Fire King City's strength had been greatly reduced. They had lost more than half of their high-level and ordinary combat power. Most importantly, Night Sorrow and the Heavenly Concubine had killed Ji Jiao and destroyed a Tribulation 9 Emperor's cultivator right in front of them. This meant that they had defeated and killed the Fire King City's peak strength. It would be easier to deal with them now. Let's go. Take the cultivators with us and leave. We don't care about the rest. If they want the Fire King City, we'll give it to them. The Fire King City Lord made his decision. Night Sorrow and the Heavenly Concubine approached the Fire King City amidst the spatial turbulence. Spatial reinforcement. They've activated the city protection array. Night Sorrow saw the difference. Can we pass? The Heavenly Concubine asked. Night Sorrow didn't say anything. He waved his empty left hand and a blank area appeared in the spatial turbulence. Night Sorrow brought the Heavenly Concubine forward. Seeing how Night Sorrow solved the problem so easily, the Heavenly Concubine sighed. She knew that no cultivator she knew could compare with Night Sorrow in terms of spatial attainment. The fact that he could cultivate the Thousand Realms defense body meant that he was skilled. Are they trying to escape? After entering the Fire King City, the Heavenly Concubine sensed the Fire King City Lord and the two Tribulation 9 Emperor's cultivators' movements. They're trying to escape. What should we do? The sudden situation stunned Night Sorrow. This wasn't part of the plan and there was no plan to deal with it. How would I know what to do? Heavenly Concubine was at a loss. She wasn't prepared for this. If they run away, they will be a threat. If they know that people from the realm have appeared, they will definitely look for the spatial passageway everywhere. Night Sorrow thought for a moment and considered the problem of danger first. Let's ignore the two cultivators from the Tribulation of the 9 Emperors for now. If they want to run, then run. Let's work together and kill the Fire King City Lord first. He's the biggest threat, said the Heavenly Concubine. That's the only way. If they split up, we can't stop them. If the other two cultivators from the Tribulation of the 9 Emperors don't run away, what if they follow the Fire King City Master and fight with us? If that's the case, we won't be able to achieve our goal. Night Sorrow spoke. He knew that choosing the City Lord of the Fire King City was the best way to deal with this. However, there were still some problems. Don't worry, we will attack the Fire King City Master and injure him severely as soon as possible. The two Tribulation of 9 Emperors cultivators will be afraid and they won't dare to attack. Under such circumstances, if they still plan to come and help, we will give them a warning and ask them to scram. If they don't scram, we will give up on the Fire King City Lord and kill them. I don't believe that they aren't afraid of death. Heavenly Concubine's fair face revealed killing intent. Then let's wait and see. As long as we can injure the Fire King City Lord quickly, we will be able to intimidate them. Night Sorrow felt that the Heavenly Concubine's threat would be effective. Of course it wasn't a threat. If the two cultivators from the Tribulation of the 9 Emperors really came to help, they would really kill them. Genuine peeve. Quietly, Night Sorrow and Heavenly Concubine approached the area where the Fire King City Lord was. Night Sorrow turned his head and looked at Heavenly Concubine. I'm ready. Heavenly Concubine nodded at Night Sorrow. His clone appeared and stood beside him. Night Sorrow let out a breath and calmed himself down. He had never ambushed a Divine Soul Unity Realm cultivator before. After calming himself down, Night Sorrow released the energy of the Thousand Realms defense body to the maximum. He controlled his aura so that it wouldn't leak out. Then, soul-extinguishing crescent moon blade appeared behind his main body and clone. Both his main body and clone began to accumulate energy. It was the same for Heavenly Concubine. If they were to attack, they would injure the Fire King City Lord severely. When he felt that it was about time, Night Sorrow's main body slashed down with his left hand and tore to the side. Then 2 crescent moon blades flew out. Then he released the Merit Primordial Taboo Dao domain. It was the Merit Primordial Taboo Dao domain supported by the Human Dao Sacred Scripture, Dao De Jing. It was released by both his main body and clone at the same time. After the suppression of the Dao domain was completed, Night Sorrow's main body and clone attacked together. Primordial Annihilation / and Reincarnation True Dragon Art bombarded the Fire King City Lord together. Heavenly Concubine's attack was even faster. She flew out from Night Sorrow's side and used the Compassion Life Sword Chi to attack the Fire King City Lord's body. The sudden attack caused the Fire King City Lord's expression to change drastically. He wanted to counterattack, but he was suppressed by Night Sorrow's Dao domain. His movements were also restricted. After being affected by Night Sorrow's soul attack, he couldn't dodge Heavenly Concubine's Compassion Life Sword Chi. After the Fire King City Lord was hit by the Compassion Life Sword Chi, he was then hit by Night Sorrow's 2 spears. His weapon hurriedly blocked the Heavenly Samsara Halberd, but the Blood Chelan Evil Slaying Spear pierced through his abdomen. He grabbed the Blood Chelan Evil Slaying Spear with his left hand and kicked Night Sorrow's abdomen. Night Sorrow's clone's right arm shook the Blood Chelan Evil Slaying Spear. The reincarnation energy rushed toward the Fire King City Lord's body. His main body slapped out the Heavenly Samsara Halberd diagonally and smashed the Fire King City Lord's right foot that was kicking his clone's abdomen. With a muffled sound, Night Sorrow's main body was sent flying. At the same time, the Fire King City Lord's right foot bone was also shattered. The Fire King City Lord's attack was very fierce. Night Sorrow knew that it was because of the Heavenly Concubine's cooperation and the Compassion Life Sword Chi that wreaked havoc in the Fire King City Lord's body. Otherwise he would have received this kick. Night Sorrow's main body was forced back. The Fire King City Lord waved his weapon and forced the Heavenly Concubine back. Then his left hand punched at Night Sorrow's clone. The punch was fierce. Night Sorrow's clone didn't dare to take it head-on. He pulled out the Blood Chelan Evil Slaying Spear that had been released from his control and floated back. He controlled his Tao domain and soul attack to prepare for a second attack. The Heavenly Concubine floated back and rushed over again, beginning the second wave of attacks. "Man, both of you deserve to die." The Fire King City Lord was severely injured. He opened his mouth to shout and then cursed angrily. "You deserve to die. I was talking to you but you put on airs. Do you really think you're so capable? I'll let you die today." The Heavenly Concubine's Compassion Life Sword Chi once again attacked the Fire King City Lord's body. Then she surrounded the Fire King City Lord and kept attacking. Night Sorrow's main body and clone also attacked the Fire King City Lord with their spear lights. At this time, the Fire King City Lord had released his Tao domain. However, he was suppressed to a certain area. His movements and attacks were restricted. He was constantly receiving damage from the Heavenly Concubine and Night Sorrow's attacks. At this time, the 2 cultivators under the Fire King City Lord's tribulation of the 9 emperors flew over. Even without the Fire King City Lord's call, they knew about such a big battle. You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.